Oh boy, welcome back to the Opperman Report after show. We just had civil rights activist and lawyer Daniel Sheehan. Incredible. I think my favorite guest that we've ever had on this show was such fascinating information. I didn't get a chance to ask a question, not one question, man, but there's no way I can interrupt this guy. By the way, we're brought to you by Audible.com, audibletrial.com/Opperman Report. I have to read that at the beginning of every show and even at the end of every show, too. I got to start remembering that because they're a new sponsor we have here. I didn't read any ads or anything during the Daniel Sheehan program because the guy was just on an incredible roll. He has all this information, too, about the Kennedy assassination, too, that we're going to be getting into with him on the next time I get him back. I'm definitely getting this guy back for sure. If I have to camp out on his doorstep, we're going to be doing another show with Daniel Sheehan, no doubt. God bless him, man. Here's a guy involved in everything, man. And I can't thank him enough for coming on. DanielPSheehan.com. And the book is called The People's Advocate by Daniel Sheehan. The link is on the Opperman Report blog where you can click on there and pick up his book. Now, I didn't read any ads, so I want to get some ads out because we've got some new sponsors this night. One is Pacific West Bamboo, 503-839-8126. Dem Roots at oppermail.com. They have a Facebook page called Pacific West Bamboo. They're getting ready, getting a new line of bamboo flooring, veneers, laminates made in Guadawa bamboo, one of the world's strongest bamboos, grown, produced, and manufactured in Central America, using only economically and environmentally friendly practices and standards. Now, you can also support the Opperman Report with a PayPal donation to oppermanreport@gmail.com, or by buying my book. You can go to emailrevealer.com, and you can go to the bookstore and pick up a copy of my book. We also have a GoFundMe.com page. If you just Google Help Save My Family by Ed Opperman, we really need your support. Me and my daughter are going through the fight of our life, trying to get justice here in the Clark County family court system. We've seen all this corruption here opposing us and really overwhelming odds. We've been financially devastated. I can't tell you how serious the situation is. If you like hearing what you hear tonight, I need your support to keep this going. There's a lot of things I'm working on in the future. There's a lot of things I can't talk about in this litigation that I will not be able to talk about for 4 years until my kid turns 18 years old. If you had any idea of what I'm doing here behind the scenes and in the background, fighting for my kid's rights and for her safety and for her mental health and well-being, you have no idea. This is the fight of my life. And I'm asking you, if you're a friend of this show, if you're a friend of me, you like what you hear when you hear me talking to you, I think I'm a legitimate, sincere guy in everything I'm doing for you. I need your help. And you can help me with an Opperman Report @gmail.com PayPal donation. You can go to GoFundMe.com/AZTJZK, and it's called the Help Save My Family by Ed Opperman on GoFundMe.com. And there's a link on every show on the Opperman Report. We need your help. Every adult that knows my daughter has tried to assist us by contacting Child Protective Services to get my daughter help from the situation that she's sitting in right now, this minute, right now, tonight. Okay, I'm talking about where this kid is locked in her room 5 days a week with no one to talk to, and suffering just because this crazy judge that we have. When you can look it up too, man, she's not just doing this to me, she's doing it to other people just like me too. Anyway, I don't want to go too off on a tangent there. Another one of our sponsors is InfinityHomePlans.com. Check out Infinity Home Plans and Design Services, your resource for 3D and 2D architectural services. They offer a multitude of products, including stock home plans, 2D digital drawing sets, 3D models, renderings, and more. InfinityHomePlans.com. My kid Victoria, she has a show on Saturday afternoons on CJMarsRadio.com at 1 p.m. She's working on a big investigation. It's a big expose on this guy this YouTube guy who's being accused of raping people and stuff like that. And my kid is out there interviewing victims and stuff like that and putting together this show with a lot of research and stuff. It's really a good thing she's putting here together. And she's doing a blog on it. She's doing a show on it. And I'm really proud of her. That's a Teen Truth on cjmarsradio.com at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Emailrevealer.com, okay? Now, emailrevealer.com is my website, and it's my PI website where if you're in trouble, you need to hire a PI, you can go there, you can find me, you can give me a retainer on there. If you need to get a name and address from an unlisted phone number, you can place those kind of searches there. If you want to do a locate, you want to locate somebody. If you have a more difficult kind of locate, like a skip trace, you can go there to emailrevealer.com. And we can find people that are trying not to be found, you know. And I'm very successful with this. If you you want to find your adopted kid that you gave up for adoption 20 years ago, I'm very successful with this kind of thing. I can do it pretty much in my spare time. This is what I do for a living. I've done it for 30 years. I've invented some stuff that's on this website that you can't find anywhere else. I can take an email address. If you think your husband's cheating on you, give me his email address. I'll trace it back to online dating websites and social networks. No one's selling that. If you think your email is being spied on, you think your email account's been hacked, I can monitor your email account and tell you if anybody's reading your emails. If you think you're being cheated on, you send me your husband's cell phone, your wife's cell phone. We recovered deleted text messages out of this. I've worked on some of the biggest cases in cell phone forensics that are out there, death penalty trials, the Charlie Sheen case, the Ashton Kutcher case, the Tiger Woods case, that whole Tiger Woods thing, Tiger text, that's all me. I did all that. Anyway, that's where we are. If you want to advertise on this show, I can reach 1 million freaking people a week, man. It is such a bargain, you have no idea. I read your ads twice a show, 3 times a show, late night. Then it's repeated on Spreaker and YouTube. We get like 300, 400, 500 YouTube and Spreaker views a day, and that stays up there forever. So if you want to advertise, contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com. Hey, if everybody can mute up for me, please. Don't forget the New World Mexican Women. Our sponsor is a group of village women in Mexico. If everybody can mute up, please. In fact, they are from a small town in South Mexico. These women have loved ones in the United States living and working as illegal migrants. Here's the surprising thing. These women all beg and plead, trying to convince their husbands, brothers, sons, fathers to return, to come back home to Mexico, to the family who needs them and loves them. Now, these are authentic letters that speak for themselves. You can read about them and judge for yourself what the situation with the Mexican migrants. Are these men now hoping to become U.S. citizens? Is a divorce judgment included with a U.S. passport? This is what these women from Mexico, they wrote this copy for me here. I love them. I got to tell you that these are beautiful women. And to find out about this situation and to get this amazing coffee table book, just Google New World Mexican Women. And you will find out how to order it for only $19, or you can download the additional edition for free. But also, too, you can get an audio book if you go to audiblefreetrial.com, whatever that is, whatever my new sponsor is. What is that they called again? audibletrial.com/Opperman Report. You can get all these books on audio, and you get them for free there just by signing up. It's a great deal. Got a new sponsor. Her name is Essentially Tammy, T-A-M-I. Now, if you're looking for essential oils, stop by and check out Essentially Tammy on Facebook. She is Young Living Essential Oils Independent Distributor. These 100% therapeutic grade oils help support the body's natural functions. You can click on her website posted on Essentially Tammy to see the current deals and check out the benefits of oils such as frankincense, joy, valor, lemon, thieves, panaway, and many more. Now email Jocatami, Jocatami @Yahoo, or call 352-239-8546 for more information. My plan tonight was we were joined by Hijacker a minute ago. I don't know what happened to him. He kind of disappeared on us. My plan tonight was to get into some stuff about my involvement with the 2012 congressional investigation and congressional hearing into Secret Service misbehavior. Because the dealeroo here is that the deal here is that I'm getting invited on a lot of shows this week to go on and discuss the Secret Service. This guy is vaulting over the fence at the White House there, right? So I have all this information back from the 2012 Secret Service, the hearings, the Lieberman hearings, and that woman from Maine who did these congressional investigations into Secret Service misbehavior. So anyway, I'll give you a little background on all this. My first contact with this kind of thing was with Bo Dietl. He was the Republican campaign finance director in Connecticut, and he first approached me way back in the 80s about being able to get a picture taken with the candidate, with the presidential candidate. At the time it was Ronald Reagan. So that was my first exposure to Secret Service background checks and what it took to get a meeting with the president. So that went on for a while, but then after that, I guess my next contact was with the case of the White House gate crashers, Mikhail and Tariq Salahi, who you might remember they were on the Real Housewives of Washington, D.C., and there was a big incident because while they were in their limousine, they were invited. We don't know if they were invited or not. The fact of the matter is that when they testified before Congress, they pled the Fifth Amendment. Okay, they invoked their Fifth Amendment rights not to incriminate themselves and not to discuss what happened in this case. So that's fine. Now, what happened here is that they were in a limo that was paid for by Bravo TV, by the Real Housewives of Washington, D.C., and what they did is they were able to gain access to the White House, to a party at the White House, without having an invitation, okay? And they were able to bypass the Secret Service at the gate, okay? So now I was involved in this because we had the same agent at the time. The same agent representing me was representing them, okay? So I got some little background information on this. And what has come to me from that, the information that I've gathered from that case, is that if you show up at one of these White House parties in a limousine with a film crew, in your gown and your tuxedo, and you're not on the list, you can get in, okay? And also, too, is that if there's a car in front of you who's well-known, there's a lot of, a PR agent, you have a lobbyist who's a friend of yours or something like that, they can get you in there even if you're not on the list. So now what specifically happened in this case, we don't know, because like I said, Mikhail and Tariq, they took the Fifth Amendment, so we don't know what actually transpired in this case. But from what I understand, if there's a car in front of you, they can wave you through. If you got a film crew with you, you got a tuxedo on, you got a gown, you're in a limousine, you can pretty much get through, okay? So that's that, okay? Now later on, what happened next, okay? In 2012, everybody knows this big story about the Secret Service. They went down to Colombia, the advance team for Barack Obama, and the story goes is that two Secret Service agents went to a brothel. They brought back these girls to their room, and that they didn't pay them their negotiated fee, and that there was a big scandal over this. The women tried to fight over it, and they called the police, the local police, and it caused this big international scandal. And that triggered a congressional investigation and a congressional hearing into Secret Service misbehavior. Now, how I got involved in that is this. Okay, what happened was I had a client in another case. Okay, my client was Shirley Tripp. Okay, and what happened was she's the woman who she was a prostitute in Alaska, and her allegations is that she knew Todd Palin, and Todd Palin was one of her clients. So what happened was she was arrested in Alaska. She sold her story to the National Enquirer. They gave her 4 polygraph tests. She passed every single polygraph examination with flying colors. And she was telling me that Okay. She was telling me that she never liked cops. Okay. And the reason why is because the cops would come to her and they would get her services and they wouldn't pay her for it. They wanted everything for free. All right. So then we were working on this whole thing. We were processing her case there against the Palins, against the National Enquirer. And when this thing came up with the Secret Service agents down in Colombia, what happened was, right away she came to me and she says, hey, I know that guy. Now that guy did the same exact thing to me. That guy, he came to me, Todd Palin sent him to me, and he didn't pay me. Okay? Now, she knew who this guy was, she knew his name, she knew he worked for the Palins before anybody else did, which is why I give a great deal of credibility to her story. Okay? So that's what happened with that. So then what happened was, I prepared all her evidence. And documented all her evidence that she had considering this guy, involving this guy, and we presented that to the congressional investigation led by Joel Lieberman. And the woman from Maine, I forget her name, but there was a co-chair of this committee here that was running this investigation. Now, I came to learn a lot of things in this congressional investigation and this congressional hearing that did not ever make it to the public domain. It never got out in the public. Now, one thing is that one of the instances of Secret Service misbehavior at that time was that one of these Secret Service agents was involved in a custody litigation with their spouse, and they actually went to the daycare center where their child was kept in full SWAT gear, in a bulletproof vest with a rifle to pick up their kids. Okay? Now, that was a pretty serious allegation. And by the way, that one, I went back looking for this. I'm doing a lot of shows on this week. And I went back looking for this, and I can't find it. Okay? It's been scrubbed from the internet. And this is something that I heard firsthand in discussion and preparing this litigation, this congressional hearing investigation. That was one incident. Okay? Now, another thing, too, is that in 5 years, there were 64 cases of sexual misconduct against these Secret Service agents in the 5 years previous to this 2012 congressional hearing. Now, what's interesting about that is 64 cases is significant because the whole entire Secret Service is only 7,000 agents. That's less than the NYPD. It's not a major, branch of the government. They only have 7,000 employees. Okay? Meanwhile, there's 64 allegations of complaints of sexual misbehavior, and a couple of those were unconsensual sex. Now, another thing that you may not realize is that in 2002, there was another incident with these Secret Service agents at the Olympics. At the 2002 Olympics, there was an incident where these Secret Service agents on detail over there were partying with underage girls, and they supplied these underage girls with alcohol. Okay, these girls were under 21, and also, too, there was alleged sexual contact with these underage girls. Another thing to consider, too, everyone talks about that in Colombia, it was 2 Secret Service agents, okay? The 2 Secret Service agents that came to light in this case were 20-year veterans. These were veteran agents that were brought up in all this, okay? So that's that, man. This wasn't like these weren't like rookie guys, okay? These were the guys in charge. These were managers down there, okay, down there in Colombia. Also, too, that there were 2 advanced team members of the White House that were involved in this whole prostitute thing down there in Colombia. There were 20 prostitutes that were hired in Colombia and brought back to these hotels, okay? And they were signed in by these agents, these married agents. They signed them right in. That opens them up to all kinds of blackmail, all kinds of stuff. Okay, but that just went on, right? And none of this gets reported, by the way, okay, in the news media, okay? There was a whole bunch of Secret Service agents down there in Colombia that were involved in all of this. Another thing that's never been reported. Did you know that the prostitute friends of this woman down in Colombia, they said, hey, man, she had this whole thing planned all along for some businessman in Dubai who was trying to embarrass the White House and embarrass the Secret Service, and that after all this went down, that this prostitute, the one who went on Howard Stern, all that stuff like that, the main one, did you know that she went to Dubai? She was a guest in Dubai for somebody sent her to Dubai, and she was there for like months. Okay, well, free ticket. So there could be some credibility to that. We don't know if there is, and we don't know if there isn't. Okay, now another thing too is at the 2012 congressional hearings and investigation. Okay, is at those hearings, Sullivan, the head of the Secret Service at the time, kept referring to this report that he had done to look back over 3 years of disciplinary actions of his Secret Service agents. Now, after this, by the way, too, there was a whole big thing. I was involved in this. There was a whole thing going back and forth, is that this report was being delayed, okay? And that Lieberman was accusing the Secret Service of editing this report and falsifying and editing records to downplay past problems, okay, in this report. After that hearing, okay, in 2012, Department of Homeland Security and OIG did an investigation on that report, and they did find that that the report was edited, okay, and was downplayed. But nothing happened. There was there was perjury before Congress. But nothing happened about that. Nothing came out of it, okay? You don't hear about it. No one talks about it, okay? By the way, too, it came out in that hearing, too, as well, that everything Shirley Tripp was saying was accurate. You don't hear anything about that. In fact, you can't even find her name in connection with this stuff, okay? This is something that I was personally involved in, okay? Believe it or not, I'm a legitimate investigator that was involved in a congressional investigation, a congressional hearing. You hear me come on the radio here talking about all this stuff and complain about my problems, but this is real stuff, real legitimate activity that I've been involved with in my life. Okay, let's see what else was in that case. It's just fascinating, man. There was so much stuff. Okay. Contacts with foreign nationals is that what happened was in the beginning of that investigation, the Secret Service had only reported 100 contacts with foreign nationals. But after this thing came out and they were re-questioned, they came up with another 400 instances of contacts with foreign nationals. Also, too, one of the instances, this woman who went to Dubai, that woman there, the one with the focus of all this, it turned out that they had investigated her, and she did come up on a CIA database as someone being a criminal with connections to cartels and all that kind of stuff. There were another 30 cases, okay, involving alcohol, mostly DUI cases with these Secret Service agents, okay? Again, this is a 7,000-man police force, and there's 30 DUIs in 5 years, okay? That's outrageous. There was another case of a Secret Service agent who had an affair with, not an affair, he was arrested for molesting a 14-year-old relative. And then he later committed suicide. After they passed the new rules saying that Secret Service agents weren't allowed to party within 10 hours when they're overseas and all stuff, blah, blah, blah. All that nonsense, which is totally unenforceable. They found a Secret Service agent that was on an advanced team in Miami, Florida, asleep in the gutter because he was passed out from being drunk and stuff like that. Okay. So there's a ton of this kind of stuff. That I'll be getting into more detail on other shows I'm going to be on a guest on in the next week or two. Oh, get this, man. There was another one where this retired Secret Service agent was running for sheriff, and he hired a guy to kidnap a retired judge that was challenging his what do you call it? His right to run for sheriff on the ballot. They was challenging his ballot. So he was arrested for this. He was trying to hire kidnappers. Okay, the Secret Service does have a reputation for being hard partiers and stuff, way back to the Kennedy days, okay? And you do run into these guys. When you go to the PI conventions and stuff like that, you run into everybody. You run into former IRS investigators, you run into former FBI, and you run into former Secret Service. And these guys are known as partiers. So when you hear Sullivan way back in 2012 talking about how it was just, this was an isolated case where two guys went out and they partied and they brought back, it's systemic, okay? Systemic with all these misdeeds going back to 2003. Okay. In 2005, a drunken agent was yanked from his role as detail leader for a team assigned to protect the visiting president of the Dominican Republic. Another agent with a blood alcohol level above the legal limit was arrested in Los Angeles after driving into a ditch. In January 2011, police in New York arrested an investigative support assistant on charges of sexual abuse. The records do not list an outcome of the case. Now, just think, too, by the way, now, if you got 30 DUI arrests, okay, of these 7,000 cops, you know that when you get pulled over, in most jurisdictions, you get pulled over for a DUI and you flash your badge at these cops, if you're a cop, you can get out of this. So if you imagine if you're a regular cop and a Secret Service agent is flashing a Secret Service badge, so you know these guys are getting out of this left and right, way more than the 30 instances. Okay. 2011, police, New York arrested investigative support assistant in charge of sexual abuse. Let's see. A lot of other stuff here. But also, too, in the information that I had, there was a lot of stuff, too, about, what do you call it, spying on ex-girlfriends and ex-wives over the computer. Two telephone numbers. Oh, my audio is bad? Okay. How much did you lose of me? Okay, great. Okay, so there was in 2003, a Secret Service agent may have been involved in a prostitution ring. It noted that two telephone numbers belonging to the agent, who has since retired, turned up as part of an FBI investigation into a prostitution ring. 2005, an employee was reported to the Washington field office for being arrested in a charge of solicitation in a park. Okay, so another one in 2008, another prostitution ring. Okay, now there's all this stuff, too, about Martha's Vineyard. Okay, you got to look this up. Just Google Secret Service Martha's Vineyard. Okay, and this has been going on since Clinton, when Clinton used to go to Martha's Vineyard. But now that Obama goes to Martha's Vineyard, it's unbelievable what's been going on over there. They don't even want to rent to these Secret Service agents anymore. This is after these investigations, after these hearings. Okay, because they turn into party houses. They're running party houses down there with underage girls running around in these houses, losing their badges and their IDs in bars, losing their phones in bars and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of incredible things going on here with the Secret Service. So if you want to call in and talk about this, or you want to talk about oh, by the way, too, the incident in Colombia wasn't just the two agents. There were 13 Secret Service agents, 7 Army soldiers, 2 Marines, and 2 DE agents. All were involved in that week down there of hiring prostitutes all over the place and bringing them back to their homes and their hotel rooms, and even an apartment that was run by the what do you call it? By the DEA. So if you want to call in with any Skype questions, ed.opperman. We got Christian Wallace on the line here. We also had Hijacker call in before. I don't know if he wants to say anything now. Hey, Christian, you got any questions or anything you want to say?
Hey, Ed. Hey, how are you doing? Sorry, I think I was on mute. Can you hear me?
No, I hear you now, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, all that stuff was going on at the time because, yeah, my half-brother was, they had like two parts. Let me turn this in the background noise off for a moment. Hold on. Sorry about that. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, there's two, yeah, it is very small actually. They have what's called the tip of the spear, and I'm gonna kind of watch what I say. Not for any, just for, but yeah, he was in there during I think they were called the Solanis.
Yeah, the Slides, yeah. Yeah, McHale and Tariq.
Yeah, I don't think he was on duty that night, but yeah, I felt so bad because it was like a breach and it was embarrassing. And then sure enough, those, other scandals sort of came forward. But I think what you were driving at was that they were kind of trying to insinuate that the quality of that the Secret Service agents were sort of, maybe not so well qualified. And, it was kind of a mess. So, I could probably speak to some of the stuff, but, what were you just saying earlier that, were you talking about the latest scandals too, how the people had made it onto the lawn of the White House? Did you see all that?
I saw that, which is what made me bring it up, because everyone's talking about how some guy hopped over a fence when, the thing is when these guys were, and I think they still are, okay? And when they were going down to Columbia down there and hiring 20 prostitutes and 20 prostitutes coming back to the place, and one of them had connections to Dubai, and having all this contact with foreign nationals and relationships with foreign nationals, I can't believe that other agencies and other governments and other stuff like that, other intelligence agencies or foreign governments don't know this and know that they can get a hold of and infiltrate through this way. Because if you read the stuff about Martha's Vineyard, they're talking about how these agents would go to the bars and let kids hold their guns and let neighbors hold their guns, okay, at the house. But then when they would go to the bars, start talking about what the procedures were to protect the president. Right. Okay? And I believe it.
Well, the thing that's funny is that if you were to conduct an interview with one of them, they're allowed to tell you stuff that if it's something that you could logically figure out on your own, you can, they can speak to it. Or if it's something that maybe like they revealed like in a movie, a lot of people know that there's, as a matter of fact, there was a documentary, I think just the other day on HBO about Ethel Kennedy. Yeah. And they were talking about when JFK won the election and how Bobby took the children into the White House, and they went downstairs and, they were running around, and they were talking about the bowling alley and the underwater swimming pool. But then Bobby Jr., he said that RFK Jr. said that there were underground tunnels. So, if you hear from, a documentary or something like that, like there's a thin line of stuff you can talk about and not like, as long as you don't give away the protocol, but things like that where they're giving people their guns to hold on to and, getting, hookers and things like that. Yeah, that would be probably a breach, so to speak. But it's funny because the training and, the skill that you have to have, I mean, it's really, and this is on their public website if you want to look it up to see, and they call it the tip of the spear, if you just want to get an idea of the quality of the agents and what they have to do, the proficiency of how well trained they are with the weapons. They have to be able to execute certain, driving maneuvers and this and that. They're highly skilled and highly trained. And then the other part that don't really deal with the president per se, they are supposedly deal with like counterfeiting, things like that. They're actually a police force.
Yeah, people don't realize the Secret Service deals in counterfeiting also too, computer hacking, credit cards, stuff like that, all that kind of stuff. That's all involved as well. Now, back to, it reminds me of, you're right, they are very professional. You can't get in there, you can't just walk in, But once you are in, there's a lot of discussion too about a lot of these guys, that, their police, their pistol training, their marksmanship is, it's on the honor system. They can write down whatever score they want.
Right.
And it was one thing too about how one agent was so out of shape that she couldn't open up the door to the president's limo because it's so big and heavy and bulletproof, that she couldn't even get it open because she was so out of shape. Now, back in the old days, my partner was NYPD Harbor Aviation. He was an NYPD scuba cop, and they would also do advanced screening and stuff like that for the president. They would go look for bombs in the harbor and all kind of crap like that. So their radios covered everything. They had the Secret Service, they had everything, all the different radio traffic going on. So we knew a lot of these Secret Service guys. And you're right. They're physically fit. They're great shots. They take a lot of training and stuff to get in there. Mm-hmm. But also, too, just like the NYPD Harbor Aviation guys, these are hard drinking guys, hard partying guys that hang out with hookers and go to nightclubs and strip clubs, just like I did, man. Okay, I cannot say, any different to me. We all did it, but the fact is it what do you call it? Yeah, go ahead.
The reason is because the guys that they get are, well, in my brother's case, I'll speak to that because I know I can talk about that specifically, is that he was a Mormon, and the reason why they liked that was because Mormons have to do like a year of like missionary work overseas, and they usually speak more than one language and have in his case, I think it was, he speaks Mandarin and, like a couple other languages, but, so they've traveled, a lot of Mormons are clean living. He doesn't smoke or anything. He's in insane shape. He was the one that was dressed as Chewbacca when they did when Johnny Depp and them were at the White House and was giving out the candy for Halloween. And, cause he's got size 15 shoe and he's real tall.
Oh, really?
So they dressed him up. So I always kid with them and I was like, just don't let him put you in any more Bigfoot costumes. And he didn't really like that, but that's just a little anecdote. But, he was telling me how, he takes it very professionally. And I think it was like a blight on, just like with the police, just like with the military, you have some guys that are, more idealistic and are really trying to be professional and maintain a air of professionalism. And then you have the other ones that are, they're ex-military and, maybe they don't take things so seriously and they have a penchant for prostitutes. But I think this whole thing about the people running up the lawn and getting into the White House, it's funny how that seems to happen when, they're trying to perpetuate this, this whole ISIS thing going on.
Right.
Like it's hitting home without actually, now that's just me speculating, but I just think that it's funny, the timing that, it psychologically sends that message that, well, if the White House isn't safe, then no one's safe.
Right. Yeah. I can't believe that, someone can get over the White House wall and run in there, because that's the kind of thing they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah, especially those uniform guys, because there's the uniform guys and there's guys in the suits with the lapels and the earpieces that travel around with the machine guns, and then there's that whole Secret Service branch, the whole counterfeiting branch.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know.
It's funny with pictures, they're not allowed to have their pictures taken. So like, if you look for them and you see pictures online of the ones that guard the president, those are usually agents that either rotated out, because they don't really want they also switch their formations of how they walk, like next to the president, because it's all about keeping, they take a lot, my point is they take a lot of precautions too. They're very, precise in how they guard the man.
Yeah.
He's certainly well protected. So any president that gets assassinated like Kennedy, someone didn't just drop the ball. That had to be coordinated to the extent that, that's how well oiled of a machine that it is. There was the assassination attempt on Reagan, and, it's just, and how there was a connection there with Hinckley and the family, with the Bush family. And, you got to be on like an insider. I don't think somebody could just walk up with a gun. Whenever the president's here, the other day, the vice president, it wasn't the other day, but it wasn't too long ago, the vice president was at, next door to where my Publix, there's a bagel place, and the vice president was there, and you couldn't get like within, they had it so far blocked off, like there's no way you would have been able to get near him. And then I remember a long time ago when Clinton was driving, they blocked off the roads almost, at least, let's say, 10 or 12 blocks, in any direction. And they raced the car down the streets with, escort in the front. And I mean like a police escort. So like, I don't know how you would get near his vehicle. So it's really dubious to think that, some schmo would just be able to walk up with a pistol or just run into the White House. I mean, I've been to Washington plenty of times, and even when the president's been there, it's really hard to on invitation, and it's really hard to get in. So I don't know. I kind of I don't quite know what to think about those stories. But the Salahis, yeah, that was crazy because they just got right in with like phony invitations.
No, they didn't have phony invitations. They were on
real invitations are yeah.
Well, what I can gather what happened with that is that there was a car in front of them that said, "Hey, the people behind us are with us," and it was someone who was a powerful person in Washington, like a press agent or a lobbyist, someone like that. And then the next car, even though they weren't on the list and they didn't have invitations, I don't think they did, but they saw a camera crew and they saw these people, and they just said, "Okay, go ahead," and they just let them in.
Yeah.
And
I could see how that happened. Because, they're a couple and everything, and there was a party going on. And, the Obamas entertain a lot. If you go to their YouTube site, you can see Paul McCartney's been there, the Jonas Brothers are there, just about every, celebrity du jour has been there, and they're constantly entertained and everything. And a lot of people come in. Willie Nelson, when he went, he smoked a joint on the roof.
Really?
Yeah, and he brags about how he did that, how he just sort of, picture Halloween where Johnny Depp is there, and this is before the movie came out, and he was dressed in his full costume from the movie of Alice in Wonderland, and he was running around in character, not just in costume, in character as the Mad Hatter. Now, it'd be one thing if the movie had come out and the kids had been like, "Oh, Mom and Dad, we really like this movie. We're big fans. Can you invite, Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter and, what's his name that directed it? Can you invite them?" But this was before the movie came out, and he was jumping around dressed as the Mad Hatter. And that's kind of odd.
Yeah, that's extremely odd. And I don't think it's any accident. The people like that. I wish we could have gotten into more of these kind of questions with the guests tonight. The guy has so much freaking information, man, but I couldn't get a question in. But not that I regret it, because I think it's one of the best shows we ever had in the history.
It was, and I didn't even know I didn't know it was you for sure because I didn't hear you talking.
Yeah, I just let him go, man. The guy was great.
He was.
We got to get him back for sure, man. He was fantastic. I got some questions here in the chat room. Just bang them out real quick. Ed, question: when Charlie Sheen talks about tiger blood and Adonis DNA, do you think he's MK Ultra mind control coming to the surface? If I was tortured, believe these statements, it would make anyone think they are invincible. Okay. Charlie Sheen. I was involved in the Charlie Sheen litigation with Capri Anderson. Okay, so I've had a lot of dealings with this guy and then his lawyers and all this kind of stuff like that. And I just think this guy, man, I think he makes a lot of money. Okay, I think he's one of them for sure. I think he gets away with whatever he wants. I think there's nothing this guy can't get away with at this point in time. I think there's all kinds of stuff with him. Do I think he's MK Ultra? I don't, but I think that I think there's some allegations about him that have gotten around that could lead in that kind of area, but not where him as a victim. If anything, I think he's the troublemaker. Okay.
Handler?
Yeah, I think this guy's into all kinds of stuff, man.
Because instead of the slave, he might be the handler. Because he had those two porn stars that he called the goddesses, and that seemed more of the dynamic, that he was kind of, if anything, if that was, plausible, he would have been more the one that was controlling them.
Well, that girl Richards, Denise Richards, said that he had, when in their divorce, she said he had child pornography on his computer and stuff like that, and I believe all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he gets away with everything, man. The guy, he's shot, the one girl got shot in the butt. Yeah, another one gets stabbed, he's pulling a knife, and then all this stuff goes on. Okay, Ed, question. Is it possible that the Secret Service is there to handle the president like Stedman Oprah? Just look at Kennedy. It appears that they knew what was about to happen. Gordon Novell also said he doesn't have security. They always get you. Okay. Yeah, I do believe some of that is, that the Secret Service, they're there. One president comes and goes, and they're still there. So there's that whole thing, And let's see.
In fact, I'll give you guys a good movie to watch that's pretty accurate on how it rolls over and the people in the White House stay and the president goes. Check out the movie The Butler, and you'll see how that he was in there for, I think, like 5 different presidents. It's not 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't see that. And also, too, someone here keeps saying that ISIS is fake. Yeah, dude, we know ISIS is fake, okay? That's nothing. I don't know why you would be bringing that up in this chat room tonight.
Newsflash.
Yeah, ISIS is fake. They're driving around in Toyota 4Runners.
There's no reason for them to wear masks.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, plus, you just don't, come on, it's just the whole thing's so ridiculous. This army pops up out of nowhere in 3 months. They got helicopters and, and U.S. Jeeps and tanks and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. It's just, beyond unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
How come there's no sanctions against Toyota for selling them all these cars?
Right.
It's just ridiculous. But
there was a documentary on today called Terror at the Mall, and I don't know why we didn't hear about it over here until it was on HBO. And these guys, they didn't seem like they were MK Ultra. They were Muslims, and it was in Africa someplace. I just caught the tail end. But they were walking around blasting people at this mall. They killed hundreds of people. The police stood down.
Yeah, it was like Nigeria, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't wear any masks. And they were letting the children go, smiling at the children. I mean, it was definitely, kooky behavior. But if they were under the mind control, but the point was they weren't wearing masks. They weren't going to any lengths to disguise themselves.
Yeah.
And they killed a lot of people. And you know what? No one moved on them. It took a bunch of plainclothes cops and maybe 2 concerned citizens with a couple guns to go in and try to actually, extricate some of the people that were in there.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that whole thing was fishy. Yeah, that whole Nigerian thing, take over the mall, that thing was fishy to begin with. Yeah. Yeah, but there's so much crap, man, that who knows what's what anymore. You really can't,
You can't tell.
You can't keep track of it all. But, really got some good information out tonight with this guy. I really appreciate that. Wish I could have got some questions in.
Well, I think he was on a roll.
Oh, forget it, man. Yeah, we can definitely gotta have him back. Hey, yeah.
I was just going to ask you, what was he talking about with the UFO thing?
Okay, I can tell you, because I watched everything he's done on YouTube, and I don't think I think this is the best interview he's done. I've listened to everything, and a lot of stuff I couldn't even sit and listen to, and weird questions and stuff. But what happened was is that Jimmy Carter, he was working for Jimmy Carter.
Mm.
And Jimmy Carter says, hey, I want to find out about UFOs. Go get Project Bluebook.
Oh.
So he was able to get that, and he copied pictures of it and stuck some documents out. But what he didn't tell on there, too, is that when Jimmy Carter went to George Bush, who was the CIA director, he said, hey, I want to see everything you have on UFOs. George Bush told him, no, you don't have the authority, you don't have the clearance to see it. Oh. I'm not showing it to you unless you make me CIA director under you, then I'll show you. Okay, and I wanted him to tell that, so he didn't tell that, I forgot. Just fascinating. Yeah.
That really is.
Yeah, guy knows everybody.
Gotta get him back up.
Yeah, I think he'll come back. Yeah, we got some big guys coming up too. There's one I forgot to mention. And right now I can't remember what it is, but there's another big guy like that coming up. Oh, we got a guy who says his father was a Zodiac killer. We got him coming up.
Bluebook? Is that who he claims was?
Nope, it's a different guy. I think his name is Stewart. Gary.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I think I know. Yeah.
Gary L. Stewart. He's a cool guy. We got him coming up. Catherine McDonald, the wife of Jeffrey McDonald.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been talking to her today. She's cool.
Oh, our favorite West Memphis. It wasn't the one they always run, but it was the middle one. Popped up today on TV, and good Lord, man, something to make your blood boil.
What
the
popped
whole
on
thing
TV?
Was, not the third one that they always show, the middle one, the middle movie.
Paradise Lost.
Yeah, I think it was Paradise Lost, or it was west of Memphis. Maybe it was a different one. But all they did was just take shots at Terry Hobbs, who, from when I spoke to him, seemed like, totally nice guy. Or even if he had some indiscretions in the past, he seemed like a hardworking. What you see is what you got with him.
Oh, yeah.
Demonized him up one side and down the other.
Yeah, I don't know if that's west of Memphis.
I didn't see the title.
Yeah.
I just saw that it was on.
Yeah, Paradise Lost 3, they try and pin it on Hobbs. It's so messed up, man, the whole thing, with the whole West Memphis 3 thing. Now they're talking about they want to try and get a pardon for these guys because the governor of Arkansas is leaving. And they're pressuring him to get a pardon. And there's so much money behind those guys.
Right, and that was the point that that was lost in the other one that they were really pushing. And this one was that there was a lot of politics going on, like you said, with the governor. There was a lot of politics going on with that too. So, they kind of conveniently skirted that. They made it out that it was part of this governor's, platform. He was using it to get either reelected or something. But you know what I mean? They twisted it and they tried to make it. So yeah, there's big money. There was big money there. But no, every time I see it, it always just makes my blood boil. And it just happened to be on today. Maybe they would put it on. Maybe they ran it today because they heard the other show.
Where was it put on though? On TV?
Yeah, it was on like Encore or something.
Okay, got another question from the chat room. In your interview of the Casey Anthony case, why was the journalist in Minnesota contacted to report on a case in Florida? This was never answered in your interview, but was a major question. Yeah, okay, yeah, because he's been investigating all this stuff, and he was in contact with that PI Cobra down there in Florida, and all these the pastor that was Casey Anthony's ex-boyfriend's father. He was investigating all that stuff. He was involved in all that, so he had a lot of documents. And that guy too, by the way, pulls out all kinds of stuff constantly, press releases that are all a lot of breaking information in the Casey Anthony and that Kaylee Anthony thing too. Not Kaylee Anthony, but that other case down there that I forget where they all got busted for the OxyContin and stuff like that. Which is, by the way too, I wasn't prepared for that interview. We got to have him back. Because I wasn't prepared, and that whole other case too, with all the OxyContin, those guys and running the OxyContin stuff like that.
At the pain clinics?
No, it's that other case, the Haley Cummings.
Oh,
the Haley Cummings case, because he thinks that whole thing was staged and is all fake, So right. a lot of interesting stuff there with that case, and we're definitely going to have him back on. But another guy we have to start getting back on all the time is Cisco Streetlove. Who has fascinating information, all kinds of great stuff coming out all the time.
Yeah, that would be a good show.
Who do you got coming on your show? You still got the show Wednesday night?
Yeah, on Wednesday night I have Aaron Franz from The Age of Transitions. He's an author, a documentary filmmaker, and he has his own show, a podcast that he does. And he's interviewed a lot of great people. He's funny. He's intelligent. He's really at the forefront of the whole transhumanism stuff.
Yeah.
And he approaches it from the scientific angle, and shows how we got some mad scientists out there, and they really it's a big topic. There's this one guy that literally he implanted a chip in himself and his wife. And he just thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, to be able to think his wife's thoughts. And it's just total, insanity.
What does the chip do?
Well, like, supposedly, if she gets angry, he can feel what she's feeling.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Who needs that?
They
would have enough headaches with these women?
Yeah. Could you imagine if you... Yeah.
Are you kidding me, man? Okay, we're going to take a break. Cindy's going to play some music for us. We're going to take a nice little break here. We can all maybe get some food and some stuff like that. And a couple more questions. You guys got any questions, just shoot them in the chat room, or you can call in at ed.opperman on Spreaker. Yeah, there's a good question here. We'll get into this. Ed, did you know that Reverend Grund subs in for L.A. Marzullo radio show, and he's connected to Russ Dizdar? Have you ever asked him about Reverend Grund? No, I haven't. I didn't know that Dizdar and Grund were hooked up together. I'd love to hear about that.
Oh.
Yeah, because I trust Dizdar, man. I like his stuff. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have a little musical break here by the beautiful Cindy Jean-Pierre, cjmarsradio.com. And next week we should be starting on some new stations, too. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. This Para X is bringing us on. And then PSN.com, they're going to be bringing us on soon. And there's another guy, a station, too, bringing us on called mancaveradio.com. They're going to start playing us as well. So we got all kinds of new stations.
That's exciting.
Yeah, everybody loves to hear my voice, man. They love to hear me.
They can't get enough of the Opperman.
Yeah.
And people, feel free to join us in this after show. It's fun. It's good.
Yeah, we wouldn't mind some calls. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report After Show, brought to you by Audible.com, www.audibletrial.com/Opperman Report, and you can get yourself a free audiobook. Hey, real quick, because I didn't get a chance to mention our sponsors during the show, because we had this incredible guest, DanielPSheehan.com, and the author of the book, The People's Advocate, which is available on our website, the Opperman Report blog. And incredible guest, fighting for your rights and my rights for who knows how many years, 40, 50 years, man. God bless him. Pacific West Bamboo, 503-839-8126. They're getting a new line of bamboo flooring, veneers, laminates made from the Guadano bamboo, one of the world's strongest bamboos, grown, produced, and manufactured in Central America, using only economically and environmentally friendly practices and standards. Pacific West Bamboo, servicing the Pacific Northwest for over 10 years. They can and do ship nationwide. 503-839-8126. Emailrevealer.com. Whatever you need, contact emailrevealer.com. Locate people, background checks, asset searches, locate someone from their email address, cell phone forensics, computer forensics, PayPal donations, oppermanreport@gmail.com. Help keep us on the air, help keep us alive, help us continue this litigation. Buy my book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator, at emailrevealer.com bookstore. I got a GoFundMe account called Help Save My Family, and me and Vic, we need your help. So go to Google, Help Save My Family by Ed Opperman, and you can check us out over there. Check out Infinity Home Plans and Design Services, infinityhomeplans.com, your resource for 3D and 2D draftsman services. They offer a multitude of products, including stock home plans, 2D digital drawing sets, 3D models, and renderings, and more. My daughter Victoria, who's on the show with us now, has a show called Teen Truth on cjmarsradio.com, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, every Saturday afternoon. Hey, check out New World Mexican Women. They are special sponsors, a group of village women in Mexico. They, in fact, are from a small town in south of Mexico. These women have loved ones in the United States living and working as illegal immigrants. Here's a surprising thing. These women all beg and plead, trying to convince their husbands, brothers, sons, and fathers to return, to come back home to Mexico, to the families who need them and love them. They are authentic letters that speak for themselves. You can read them and judge for yourselves. What is the situation with the Mexican migrants? Are all these men now hoping to become U.S. citizens? Is divorce judgment included with a U.S. passport? This was written by the New World Mexican Women. Okay, this is their ad copy that they want. To find out about this situation, to get this amazing coffee table book, just Google New World Mexican Women. You will find out how to order it for only $19, or you can download the digital edition for free. New World Mexican Women. Okay, and if you are looking for essential oils, stop by and check out Essentially Tammy on Facebook. She is Young Living Essential Oils Independent Distributor. These 100% therapeutic grade oils help support the body's natural functions. You can click on her website posted on Essentially Tammy to see the current deals and check out the benefits of oils such as frankincense, joy, valor, lemon, bees, panaway, and many more. Email Jacotami, Jocatami @yahoo.com, or call 352-239-8546 for more information. And we have with us tonight Victoria Maria Opperman, host of TeenTruth.com, star of the basketball team The Insanity, artist, singer, motivational speaker, blogger, investigative reporter. Victoria, tell us what you're working on.
Okay,
model.
So for anyone that doesn't know, there's been actually a lot of like YouTube sexual abuse scandals going on, and I've actually found out that they've been going on for a couple years now. There was one guy 2 years ago that got arrested for like 5 years for what he was doing. And the one I wrote the blog post about, his name is Sam Pepper, and you can go to stoptheabuse.blogspot.com, and you can read the whole thing. Basically, he did this, he had a fake hand, and he pinched girls' butts as a prank. And, of course, after a while, it got taken down on YouTube, because, he's sexually assaulting women. And he got banned from things like VidCon. If you don't know what VidCon is, it's like a Comic-Con for YouTubers. And, everyone's writing petitions about him and just saying, he doesn't deserve to go to meetups and meet his fans and stuff like that because he's doing this to girls. So he uploaded a second video that also got taken down on YouTube where women do the prank on men. And of course that got taken down immediately, like I said. Then he made a third video, which was like the last final reveal, where he talked about how these weren't pranks that he meant to do. They were more of a social experiment to see how people would react and how men aren't being treated equal to women and stuff, and how
It's
men
a double standard.
Yes. So people have come out of the woodwork saying that Sam has done some really horrible things to them. Like this one girl went to a movie theater with him and they kissed, and then in the movie theater, he took his hand and tried to put it on places of her body she didn't want. Then, after her, telling him repeated times that she doesn't want to do this, he took her hand and tried to put it on places on his body that she wasn't comfortable with. And, other people, as far as I know, have come out about stuff like this. And there's a lot of other YouTubers who are doing the same things, but maybe even worse, because we don't know. I know there's this one YouTuber who, I'm not sure exactly what his name is, V My or something, probably be my next post. And he openly admitted that he got a girl drunk just to do it with her on video, and he hasn't been arrested yet, as far as I know. And, stuff like this is happening and no one's really looking at it. So, that's what we're doing on the website. It's been doing pretty good, as far as I know. I haven't got to check it in the past couple of days. But, the first couple of days was doing pretty good. And on the end of the whole paragraphs, I do have stuff like my email, and I mentioned the radio show and stuff. And I would love to have people on who talk about this kind of stuff. hopefully, I've gotten like one email about another YouTuber, so hopefully more will come in later on.
So you plan on doing a show with this?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't know when.
Do you have a guest lined up?
I think, do we have that guy, or did you talk to him?
No, not yet. I can get him.
No? Okay. Because that I kind of want to use, what's his name?
Bob Beers, who's a local assemblyman who's against this stadium they want to build here in Clark County, Nevada.
Yeah, because it's also a part of, I'm in speech and debate now, and that's our debate topic.
But you want to know what, man? The people with the money in this case are the people who want to build the stadium.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, right.
The thing is,
we should get in with them, not this guy who doesn't want to build it.
Well, I mean, me and my debate partner, she's doing pro, I'm doing con,
Okay.
So either way I look at this, I'm kind of going to be on con anyways, unless we switch during, when the actual debate happens. Yeah, but it's complicated because you think that, since the stadium's in a small town, like if they put it here in Henderson, like the one at UNLV.
Yeah.
That it would bring job revenue to the shops and stuff like that. But it's found that, if, say like the 49ers came to Vegas, that since the fans are there getting drunk and
yeah,
are less likely to go to the gas station or to go to the restaurant like that week.
Yeah, what they got to do, right. I agree with you. They got to put that stadium down where there's vacant desert land someplace far out, Why have it downtown by the World Market? That's crazy.
Oh, is that where they want to put it?
Yeah, in the middle of downtown. They're talking about 18,000 people. You know what kind of traffic that would cause down there? It's crazy. The traffic's already horrible.
Yeah.
So put it someplace out in the desert, man, and stick it over there. I'm getting a question from the chat room, okay? Ed, PIs can find someone, but are PIs ever asked to help hide someone and erase traces such as a woman who might be in danger from an ex? Yes. Nikki, there's a lot of stuff I can do for you with that. First of all, we would just do a typical locate on you and see what could be found by searching your social security, your date of birth, your name, stuff like that. Then with those databases, you can opt out of a lot of them too. But then I can also teach you how to get lost. If you want to be hidden, you want to stay hidden from a PI, I can definitely teach you how to do that. Okay, but and it's not that expensive, but I can't do it for free.
And,
okay.
And where people hide out, and this was in a movie, but I know this from personal experience, they hide out in drug treatment centers from police.
That's true too. Yep, because they can't serve warrants in there. They can't serve bounty hunters can't go in there. A lot of you can't serve a subpoena in a medical,
And it's a medicine. It's your right to privacy.
That's right. You would think so. Yeah, you think people have HIPAA rights to privacy, but it turns out you really don't. They do everything they can to avoid prosecuting that for you when you go report it.
Right.
So, but we're still working on it. So Vic, you were telling us about this guy Pepper, right? Vic?
Yeah, Sam Pepper, his name is. I would advise you not to look him up on YouTube because any revenue he's getting now is from all this stuff.
Yeah, because he has like 2 million followers.
If you want to find the videos, you can find them by searching them and clicking on someone else's video.
Right. Now, he has like 2 million subscribers.
Yeah, he has about 2 million subscribers. I don't know why.
I think he was on Big Brother.
2 million subs?
Yeah.
It's not that much for, like, the upper class part of YouTube that he's kind of in.
Right. Yeah, there's that promoted part. And then there's, But
I would tell everybody this, man. If you want to help support the show, subscribe to the Opperman Report YouTube channel. And we only need about 20 times what we have right now. Mm-hmm. And we could live off of that, man. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really close, man. And it's growing every day, but it's Opperman Report YouTube channel, not Ed Opperman.
You have two YouTube channels.
Yeah, I got 2 YouTube channels, yeah. And the Spreaker channel. And Victoria's channel is Teen Truth?
that has no videos up, but who cares?
Yeah, I know. We got to work on it too. We got to get working on it too.
Hey, so do I, Victoria. So you're in good company.
You know what? I did want to mention something. Hey, Dad, you know Dylan, right?
Yeah.
Guess who just got a show on CJMarsRadio.com right before mine?
Let me guess. Dylan?
Dylan!
All right.
Oh, no, that's great. Like, you know, 'cause at least I'll have, you know, like, a good startup or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and CJ Mars is probably one of the best stations we're on.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that, but we love CJ Mars. We love
I'll
CJ.
say it because I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we love her.
Well, we can say this. Cindy is definitely the hardest working woman. She is constantly working and on there, and that is a huge compliment. And she's just wonderful. Any time of the day when you wanna bounce anything off of her, she's creative. She just does not talk during a show.
Right, she doesn't heckle you during the show, right? Don't you hate that when you get heckled?
Yeah.
You're doing the show, you got some nutcase
That's cool.
heckling you, man. Well, I tell you this, man, you know, we're going to be working on some stuff in the future. And I want to find myself in a position where I'm not being censored, where I can really get down and tell all the stuff I know, man, okay? Because I'm holding back on a lot of stuff. And I know all about hosts that are complete and utter frauds and all kinds of scam artists and all kind of crap, man. I can't wait to get that out. So let's
But we're not naming names.
Not going to name names or dates or places or emails or evidence I hold in my possession. You know? I will not, stoop that low. But, you know, something has to be done because there's a lot of crap floating around out there, and someone needs to step up and do something about it. So why we need your support, listeners. You want to hear the truth. You want facts out there. You want guys like Daniel Sheehan, who's the real deal. We need the sponsors, you know, that I can read your ads on the air, or investors or whatever, you know, or donations, oppermanreport@gmail.com. You know, we seriously need your support. And otherwise, you know, this could all end tomorrow.
I would definitely also push audible.com /the Opperman Report, because honestly, you're signing up to a website and you get a free audiobook and we get $15.
Oh, you know what it's called? We got the wrong thing there though, Vic. It's called Audible Free Trial, I think it's called. One sec.
No, it's audible.com /.
No, it's not. Go ahead, do it right now and I'll show you.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. It's
that's what I've heard other people say, so I just figured it was that.
Well, the link that I have is audibletrial.com, Opperman Report.
Okay. Whatever works, audibletrial /the Opperman Report or audible.com /the Opperman Report.
Yeah, whatever works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a place where when you're making your account, you can put in the Opperman Report.
Okay.
And that's, I think, how you do it. But honestly, there's like really good books on there that if you don't want to read them.
Oh, they're the best books in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you want, like, say you didn't read The Maze Runner, you could go on there and listen to The Maze Runner before you watch the movie.
Hey, so you went to see The Maze Runner tonight, did you? What is your review of the movie?
Review on the movie? Like on what viewpoint?
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Well, if you read the book, it's definitely kind of out of order and out of sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The ending was a little weird because I think, as far as I know, I think it's from book 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty good. I mean, the acting's pretty good and stuff.
How are the special effects? Because it said you had to see it in a big screen format because of the maze.
Yeah, you definitely would. The grievers and stuff, they're like the machine kind of things that are coming after them in the maze, are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of jump out a little bit because it's like coming at you and stuff. So
that's cool. And I like that kid that was he was in the Millers, Meet the Millers, I think.
Yeah.
That kid.
I just remember that kid.
Yeah, with the eyebrows.
Yeah.
The spider bites him. And he was in The Son of Rambo. If people haven't seen that movie, that's a cute movie for for younger people to see. That's a good movie. Every kid played Son of Rambo when they were younger, and that movie is really good. It's like a little independent that he was in.
Hey, wait a second. I'm getting a question here from the chat room. Question: have you ever told the background to the McKinney questioning of Rumsfeld about the ship full of kids they sunk? I've never heard the full story. No, I'm not aware of that story at all. What? And I know something about a ship full of kids that was sunk.
Yeah, she questioned him on I think DynCorp, and they were literally running children, running children, I think in containers. I think that's what they're talking about. And she did. She asked him straight up.
Oh no, I believe she would. Yeah, she's really cool.
She called out, I think, Dick Cheney to his face too.
She did. No, Rumsfeld. Yeah, she really put the screws to Rumsfeld.
Yep.
And then they ended the questioning when it was her turn.
Yeah, she asked something real provocative like DynCorp running child kidnapping.
Yeah. Okay, Ed, did you ever watch Simon and Simon? No, I never watched Simon and Simon. Never heard of it. Magnum PI. I never really watched Magnum PI.
Heard of Simon and Simon?
Nope, I never did. Rockford Files was my guy, and Beretta, those kind of guys.
Beretta, yeah, with the parrot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. By the way, Victoria, when Victoria was a little tiny baby, right? She woke up when she was so little. Yeah, Columbo. I was a big fan of Columbo. I still am.
Me too.
When Victoria was a little baby, okay, and when she still slept in the bed with me and her mother, she was that little. The TV was on. She woke up in the middle of the night and she saw a repeat of Beretta with the parrot on his shoulder. Yeah. And she got up in the middle of the night and sat there watching this thing. And I tried to pick her up and put her back in bed, and she was so tired, she was exhausted, but she wanted to see this parrot on this guy's shoulder. And she sat there and watched this, man. I was trying to reason with her, man, but she was I'll never forget. Okay, let's see. Some followers of podcasts are rabid fans. Some radio hosts keep talking about being attacked via the web, blogs, videos, having their equipment blasted and ruined. Isn't this always a fear, Ed, when you're mentioning names? Yeah. It's constant war, what we're at here, okay?
You're getting attacked anyway. So
yeah, right.
At all.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can get something done, get some good stuff going out there, like Daniel Sheehan. Look at this guy tonight. This guy, Daniel Sheehan, tonight should be an inspiration. Should be an inspiration to all of us. Here's a guy who's been fighting since he got out of college. One case after another, struggling, fighting, trying to make progress, and having success, you know. And even today, you know, and he says, no, don't give up, don't feel, that it's too late, that we can form a different party. We just have to, totally abandon these Democrats and Republicans, man.
Yeah.
Okay, question, any update on the Dizdar Griffin's trip to New York? Listen, I didn't have the money to go when that trip was back in May. I don't know if the trip happened or not. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm in a secret group right now with Maury Terry, and we try to contact Griffins to come on our show. He said he would, but he hasn't. Now I'm in this group now with Maury Terry, and I've definitely become noticed, man. He noticed me in that group, man, for sure. And he's answering my questions. So we can ultimately get him on the show. I'm convinced we will have him on the show. Probably with Jim Rothstein originally, and then a whole other show. But also, too, in this group that we're in right now, there's all kinds of guys that are first-hand witnesses to the Son of Sam shootings, witnesses to the shootings, witnesses to people who knew the cars, the people, there's a wealth of information in this group that I'm in right now that, we'll probably do some shows, just with people who knew all this stuff, that were first-hand witnesses and all kind of stuff like that, with anecdotal, conversations, like that. We have a bunch of stuff going on with that, man. Mm. And then also, too, then the big shots like Maury. Oh, yeah, man, this is a big deal. Thank God I got invited to this group. And I owe it to William Ramsey, by the way, who got me in there. Yeah, man. William Ramsey, behind the scenes, by the way, guys, is a big help to the show. He's a big supporter, great advice all the time, and support and prayers. John Potash, man, another guy, man, a real revolutionary guy, real deal, was a big supporter of the show and behind the scenes and stuff like that. Cynthia McKinney, when I was in trouble, I contacted her, man. She helped me out. She got me, with some political connections and stuff. So, all this stuff, guys, but you got to remember, we're all in this together.
Yep.
When one of us is in trouble, another one has to help out. When you guys are in trouble, I try and help out as much as I can. When we're in trouble, we need your help too, And you can do this by sponsoring the show, helping us get advertisers. It's a bargain deal. Subscribing to the YouTube channel, going to the blog and clicking on the ads, and donations, oppermanreport@gmail.com. Give us donations, man. $5, $2, go to the GoFundMe page.com, and with the help save my family. We're in the fight of our lives here, and it's touch and go. And there's a lot of stuff we can't talk about, like I said, for another 4 years. But when you guys hear this whole story of what we've been through with this, man, you won't believe it.
And even if they can't, maybe they're not a big sponsor, if anybody's ever gotten anything out of, or they want to continue to hear all these great guests, donate. Even if it's $1, $5.
Yeah, it's so true.
I mean, it's like the price, it's less than the price of a movie ticket, and you get at least 3 hours worth of content. And we try to keep it interesting, afterwards, and then invite people to call in afterwards, and you can interact with the guests. Who else provides all that?
I got to tell you, if everybody who contacts me during the week saying, hey, when's the after show, what's this, all these questions and emails and stuff like that all day long, if every one of those people just sent me $1, we'd be fat like you have no idea.
Yeah.
So, and just to clarify again, it's the Opperman Report YouTube channel, not Ed Opperman YouTube channel. You can subscribe to both. It's not going to hurt. But the one with
you'll see the blue insignia. With
the Superman, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the difference.
Plus, I do have to say that, my dad starts us at 4 and ends at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get at least 3 hours.
Yeah. And it's he literally spends all of Friday working on the show.
What am I supposed to be doing at 7 o'clock with my daughter?
Right.
Huh?
And if someone was advertising, the longer the show goes, you keep running those ads.
Yeah.
Live on top of the when the show gets replayed. So you get a lot for your advertising buck.
On top of 2, I do most of the ads on my show also.
All right.
So you're getting a good...
Yeah, that's right. Vic also reads the ads as well on her show Saturday afternoon, and that show's replayed on Sundays, I believe, on Shake and Wake with Rick and Annie.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah, that's all that...
I don't know, to be completely honest, because I haven't... My computer doesn't let me go to the Shake and Wake website. So I don't know.
Okay, I got another question from the chat room. Question. Have you ever tried to interview Timothy Wiley of the Process Church? He has a few interviews on YouTube about his dolphin book. Okay, yeah. I have not tried to interview Timothy Wiley. My friend James Arthur Yancic has interviewed Timothy Wiley. And he didn't even know about all the history of the Process Church with Berkowitz and all that stuff. He had no idea about any of that when he interviewed Timothy Wiley. I don't think Timothy Wiley would come on my show, to tell you the truth. And it would be a confrontational interview. I'm not gonna, I'm a nice guy, but I'm not gonna, mince words with these kind of people.
Right. That would be like interviewing Aquino or Bush or somebody, dancing around the fact that they did what they did. How could you? But in the spirit of that, he's welcome to come on.
Who, Aquino?
No, the Process Church guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't done any real confrontational interviews or any confrontational shows that started out that way, from my,
Well, a lot of these people are such narcissists. They'll come on. They really will. I bet you, what's his name? Eccles will come on. He's always got a book. What week is it? He's probably got another book coming out.
No way. He would definitely not come on this show. He has a really high-priced press agent and PR company, and he only goes on shows with softballs. He will not answer. He will definitely not come on. But we are on his radar for sure. And those bums over there, man, and all kinds of stuff. You guys don't understand. When we do a show like last week, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
With these nuts, man, with the emails and stuff, and they chase you around on Facebook, and and the insults and the rudeness and the hostility, just it's not.
And they have useful idiots, that are not so in the loop. They're just rabid fans as well that'll attack you and troll you.
Oh yeah, they got their.
They're useful idiots. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole other show that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah. And even after we do these shows, and then the after show, then we usually do a gossip session after the after show. So it pretty much never ends, when we start talking about these other stations and hosts and nut jobs that we have to deal with in this business, man.
We don't talk about other people. We love everybody.
Nah, we love everybody. We do. All God's children. Like a tree planted by the water. We love each other.
It's more of a purging of emotions. It's more of a spiritual thing. It's more of a cleansing.
You know what? And honestly, to a lot of our conversations after the shows are out of concern for people,
right?
And not so much out of hostility. I got to get to that. So, yeah. But we do need a forum where we can really get out here uncensored and get our stuff out. Okay, question. Have you ever researched Pentagon Institute in San Francisco? Hunter Thompson was the housekeeper there for months, and remote viewing comes out of there and has heavy ties to mind control. Okay, I have no idea what the Pentagon Institute is, nor did I know that Hunter Thompson had anything to do with it. I can tell you about remote viewing. Remote viewing, back during the Art Bell controversy and lawsuits and all that stuff, the big feud between Art Bell and John David Oates and Robert A.M. Stevens. I came into contact with a lot of these big shot remote viewers and their staff and all their people around them. And after that experience, I have no faith or endorsement or confidence in anything these remote viewers, I tell you. I think it's a lot of hocus pocus. I think it's a lot of BS. I think it's a lot of Scientology, and I think it's a lot of witchcraft and all that kind of stuff like that. So,
why aren't they finding lost children?
Yeah, right. Why aren't they right? Why aren't they finding lost children? Right. That's a good question. There's a kill shot coming. Oh, there's more evidence for a kill shot. But 50 years, kill shot's coming. Okay, but also too, that's another topic, man. It's starting to bug me too about Anonymous. Oh, Anonymous, they're these hackers and they're doing this, they're doing that, they're all over. How come they're not hacking the banks? How come they're not hacking the credit reporting agencies? How come they're not hacking the police databases with the criminal records? If these guys are all hacker or schmacker shit, why aren't they doing anything to really help us?
Yeah, hacking chips, like you said, chips, right?
Yeah. What are they hacking us? What are they helping? They're not doing anything.
Yeah, they. It's funny because they call themselves Legion. We are Legion.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what's that weird stuff with that Guy Fawkes mask and all that stuff like that? Give me a break.
Fawkes mask, right?
Yeah. Okay, another question from chat. If Revolution Radio goes down, will we be broadcasting from CJ Mars Radio exclusively? My goal is not to ever be exclusive to any one station, although Cindy Jean-Pierre is a sister to me and I love her. But our goal is to get on as many stations as possible, to rebroadcast, simulcast on as many stations as possible, to get to advertisers up there to a point where we can get into these packages, where we can be buying AM, FM, and satellite packages to get in there, to really, 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 really blow this show out there. Because what I think we're doing is that we have this kind of this true crime and sexy conspiracy theories kind of stuff out there, but then also we bring in the real social justice, the economic justice, guys like Daniel Sheehan, guys like Potash, Cynthia McKinney, that we can bring in these people, man, who really want to change things and bring justice to all of us, man. So that we have to capture the media, to do it. I would try to talk to Potash tonight, to Sheehan tonight, and say, look, man, if everyone's saying that Obama's a socialist, we have no chance. Because these idiots like Limbaugh and these idiots, Hannity, their narrative is just garbage. So we need to capture the media.
Well, those are talking points. They all have talking points.
Oh, forget it, man. Yeah.
And also with the ID network, when you're talking about the detective stuff, that's such a popular genre.
Right.
Well, with yours, it's even better because you go in depth, and then, like I said before, people can call in and actually speak with it. We get like really behind the scenes. It delves deeper into,
I'll tell you right now, man, Daniel Sheehan does not have another interview on the radio, even when he did speeches and stuff like that. There's nothing out. He hasn't done anything out there like I heard tonight, man, because I listened to everything he's done. So this was just gold tonight, man, as far as his case goes. But like you said, too, about the ID channel, because I know those guys over at the ID channel. Vito Colucci's over there. Steph Watts is over there. And I got to tell you something, man. People say, the media, they're all controlled and all that. These guys legitimately believe what they say on there. Steph Watts was saying on Facebook the other day that when he gets on a plane, he looks around for Muslim terrorists, Oh,
really?
Yeah, and he believes that, man. And he's a sincere guy. We disagree about a lot of stuff, but I like him personally. He's a cool guy, but he believes that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah, he believes what's handed down to him, man. So I can't complain about what are you going to do? Ed!
Well, I was just saying that because it's so popular. This is sort of like an outgrowth this is more extensive, and if people like that genre, they should, you should be able to easily, have some spillover from that, from people who like that channel.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We can capture that audience, and build on it,
Mm-hmm.
and get some real truth out there and some real, like the information we got out tonight, man, is gold. I can't see it. You know what, man? I can't see how some people can complain about it and heckle me during the show and cause problems for us and distractions and stuff like that because they don't want that kind of information out there.
Hey, Dad, can I ask what happened with all this heckling? I feel like I'm...
I was heckling him.
Nah.
No, really, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
I know you didn't hear it, and I'm such a professional. No one can tell I'm being heckled when I'm on the phone, when I'm on the radio. But the thing, but you have, people have no idea. We get prank phone calls during the show. We get people sending messages, on Facebook and before the show and after the show, trying to distract me and trying to prevent real information, real revolutionary information getting out there is what they're trying to prevent. Real revolution radio information, not bogus information.
And there's a responsibility there, You almost have to continue on, because the truth, it has to someone has to do it.
I hear you, man. I hear you, yeah, otherwise, the easy road is just to say, listen, these guys are being jerks. Let's just move on, but, you gotta sometimes just put up with crap, just to, get your information out there to the widest.
And it comes from directions you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's like a circular firing squad sometimes.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, Vic, what else you got to tell us tonight? Dylan?
I can make a comment about what you guys were talking about. I can say that I've seen you personally look up to so many people that we now know different things about,
Oh, yeah.
That, it's amazing looking back on how some hosts have changed.
Mm.
Yes, the last year and a half have been a huge education to me. When I went on the Vinny Eastwood show a little over a year and a half ago, he said to me, he says, "So Ed, how do you feel now knowing that all your heroes are full of crap?" You know what he said, you know? And I said, what do you mean? I didn't know about that. What are you talking about? And,
now you know.
Oh man, now I know, man. Now I know. So many of these people are totally full of crap. It's not even funny. Yeah, and even Ann's saying right now in the chat room that this year has been a real eye opener, and it's so true. That, you know what, man? Everyone loves to talk. You want to talk about, the metaphysical. Ooh, the vibrational frequencies. We're going to raise them up. Ooh, we're winning. Oh, cause everyone's awake. Ooh, we're going to win. But you want to
talk about gun control.
Oh, yeah. So, you know what, man? Someone was saying in a chat room tonight that I'm against the Second Amendment and I hate gun control, and I hate gun rights, and I don't want people to be able to defend themselves. I don't want people to be able to defend themselves. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, my God. You know, I'm talking about Zimmerman, man. You know. Yeah. We have people marching in the street saying, "Take away my right to self-defense. Take away my right to," and I'm the only person talking about this. You know, but Ed doesn't like Second Amendment. Ed doesn't like your right to self-defense. Oh my God.
That sounds like trolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You guys, I'm going to take a little break. You guys talk to each other, okay? Ask each other some questions here. Chris, why don't you interview Victoria for a couple minutes, all right?
Okay.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Well,
ask her, you know what? Ask her what it's like to clean a room.
Actually, you were doing very good, Victoria. You've gotten very good at, there's a little bit of feedback.
Sorry.
Okay, is that better? No, you sounded, you're actually on a roll. Do you want to maybe talk about because that was very interesting about the guest that you were going to have on, who you were going to expose. Can you tell me a little bit more about why this person has so many views on YouTube and where they're kind of fooling people? What should we be the most aware of to kind of keep our eyes open for with this person? Because I forgot what the name was.
Well, the guy I specifically talked about on my blog post was Sam Pepper.
Uh-huh.
And and thank you, by the way. People like him, as far as I know, because honestly, I didn't know about him before this, because I just watched different videos than his style. But it seems like the people who are sexually harassing and the people who are taking advantage of their fans are the people who are doing prank videos. You know?
So they were doing just straight out putting out false information and purposefully misleading people?
Well, honestly, they're not really purposely, leading people to think different things. They're putting these things out, and no one's really noticing or caring and just thinking that it's a joke or, believing him when he says it's a social experiment. And there's so many things nowadays where they're like, oh, it's a prank video, so I'm not really intending to hurt these people. Like, he did this thing where him and his friends put on some, mask, and they, pretended to beat someone up, and got people so scared that they're running away, screaming and stuff, And, this girl comes at them with, pepper spray,
Wow.
It's the kind of thing where this one YouTuber was talking about it. And he's like, at the end of a prank, people should be laughing, and having a good time with it.
Mm-hmm.
But these people, since it's their genre on YouTube, they have to think so much out of the box that they're really not thinking about people's personal space or rights.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was mean-spirited, and it was sounds sadistic.
Oh.
Well, these guys are abusing women to begin with, man. Everything they're going to be doing is along that same vein,
There's so many stories where the YouTuber who got arrested 2 years ago was getting, pictures of young girls,
Oh.
And it's the thing where, when this YouTuber starts talking to the girls, they're like, oh, this is the guy I've looked up to,
Yeah.
Just ignore all the signs and just keep going,
Do you know how old he is?
Pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pepper was 20. He was 22.
Is 22? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like 22.
No, he was 22 when this stuff was going on. I don't know how it is now.
Yeah, well, this was when, now is when the stuff's going on.
And
So
there was a weird sexual bent to the whole thing?
Well, the
Like
video where he's, touching the girls' butts is what really got people started,
Uh-huh.
And then all this dirt just got digged up,
My mind is still reeling from the 2 million subs, because I think I have I definitely don't have 2 million subs, but that's still got my head spinning. I can't believe that many subs.
It's honestly really sad that certain people have so many subscribers.
Right.
Like, including him,
Yeah.
Because there's people with that other case I talked about where the guy admittedly said it on a private video that he did these things. And there's people saying, oh, like, why did the girl decide to drink all the alcohol? Like, isn't it her fault?
Oh. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, when they make excuses, and they blame the victim.
Exactly. And it's the kind of thing where people like Sam are like, well, all these people in the video knew it was going to happen. No, they didn't,
Right.
Like, yeah, you probably got them to sign something afterwards, but not before when you did it,
So it was that sort of thing where afterwards they maybe got the permission and...
Like, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like with Joe Francis, too, man. Did the same thing, too. We filmed these drunk girls all over the place, and then, sometimes got slipped, sometimes didn't.
And that pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with YouTube, you really can't keep people accountable because it's a hidden camera,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And how would you know if something, like they have, all these revenge videos for ex-girlfriends that people put up, that maybe at the time they were dating and then they had video and then they put it up. Some of the stuff, I'm shocked at some of the stuff I see that pops up on YouTube. The guidelines are really kind of kooky because, they definitely selectively go after certain things, and other stuff you'd be, you wonder how are they getting away with putting this up?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because
I think with YouTube, it's more of what's getting views,
Right.
That we can really restrict people from doing. Because I know they're planning, I don't know if it's happening or not, but they're planning to do a separate, thing for, music, where you have to pay for it.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I don't think it is, but,
Yeah, because I get a lot of my music off there.
Yeah.
But they, oh boy, what was it? They do, one of my videos, I remember, this is back when I was trying to make full-length YouTube, but the time was short. You only had maybe 15 minutes, so I had to break them into parts.
Right.
It would be funny because they would give you, once some of mine would go totally unnoticed, but then the second they'd get 10,000 views, they'd push a copyright or something, where there'd be a strike or you ran some kind of issue with YouTube. So definitely, the content, if they don't want certain things to get attention, and it's funny because I did a series that people liked, and it was funny because the views all of a sudden dropped by part 3 all the way down into the hundreds, and the first one was way up in the thousands. And people were writing to me, asking me, well, when's part 3 going to come out?
Oh, really?
So I don't know if they played around with the views or what they do, but yeah.
I know YouTube can sometimes do this thing. I don't know if it's with videos like that, but I know there's times where I've tried to click on a video and it'll say you need a certain type of Adobe Flash.
Right. Yeah.
And then you can't watch it,
Hey, you guys want to laugh?
Yes, please.
I just checked my other email, right? The Opperman Investigations email. And there's 5 new subscribers for Opperman on YouTube, but no new subscribers for the Opperman Report. So now all these 5 people are going to email me during the week saying, where's the show?
So let's repeat it.
People who just subscribed.
It never ends. It never ends.
It's the one with the logo that looks like Superman.
Yeah.
Opperman Report at the YouTube. Oh, God. I tell you.
Just change your show name to Ed Opperman. I think it'd make life easier.
Stupid show. I'm getting.
And they're all on there, easy to find. They're all
very well organized. Yeah.
Come back and listen to any if you missed any part of one of the shows, and even if you've heard it, a lot of the stuff you cover so much. Some of the guests just really run through so much information that you have to listen twice because there's no way you can catch it all.
Hey, real quick, I just remembered who the other guy, the big show we have coming up. I forgot to put in my notes, but it's this guy named Sutter, and this guy's a real big shot. And he wrote articles and investigations and stuff like that about the Russian 9/11, which took place in September of 1999, where what happened was there was a series of apartment bombings in Russia. And this is what got Putin elected, because he blamed it after the Chechens. But the whole thing, then there was another, they found all these bombs planted in another apartment, and they found the KGB agents right up around them, planting the bombs. So it was Vladimir Putin's 9/11 that he did before our 9/11, which was a false flag, where he pinned it on these Chechen terrorists, and that's how Putin got elected into power in Russia. Then what happened is that after our September 11th, when Bush did it, Putin called Bush. He was the first person to call, and he says, "I know just how you feel."
Mm.
So this is a huge story. No one in the United States knows about this. No one in the 9/11 truth movement ever talks about this.
Mm-hmm.
And we got this guy all lined up to come on our show. Fascinating guy. Can't wait to get him on. He's a real big shot, too. And the other guy in Russia who reported on this and was talking about it was killed by the KGB. They shot him with some poison and made his face look turn into a monster. Okay, another question. Ed, please talk about the OJ case and the chart you had made connecting everyone.
Oh, great.
Yes, the OJ case. I did, yeah. What happened was I was researching, I came into information from Alex Constantine about connections with OJ, and I was reading all this stuff about the Process Church and Roy Radin and stuff like that. And I found all these connections with the OJ trial and the Process Church and the Charles Manson people and Scientology. And there was so many connections that I made and this is before the internet, man. This is before, I was working on computers. I had made a flow chart by hand, okay? And it was so overwhelming when I saw all these connections with people, the connection from the OJ trial and Greta Van Susteren and Lance Ito and Marsha Clark to Scientology and Process Church. Unbelievable, man, the connections that went on with that crap. And it was just so,
what was Ito's story?
I'd have to go back and look at all this stuff like that, but there's just so much. It's just not even funny, man. And Ito has all kinds of connections too. How he wound up with that trial is the whole thing. They were all afraid of Pelicano. They talked about it at the sidebars. James Woods, who later on is flying on the 9/11 hijacked plane and all that kind of crap. This is amazing stuff. Yeah. He shows up there. He gets up, goes, come on back in the judges' chambers, Just unbelievable stuff went on.
So many people were supposedly booked on those flights, celebrities, politicians, and all got off at the last minute. Even somebody from the real world was scheduled to be on one of the flights and then said, someone
McCartney missed the flight. What do you call it? The guy from Family Guy. Yeah. Seth MacFarlane.
Someone else too. Yeah. It was funny because I didn't think it was a Family Guy. The other guy, musician. Who was it? That. It seems like almost everybody was supposed to be on one of those flights. And
forget it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And James Woods, that guy's in everything, man.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I got a bunch of other questions here from the chat. Real quick, we'll get to them. Let's see here. Does Victoria ever clean her room? No, she does not ever clean her room. Not even one time. It's never been cleaned.
I heard that was a conspiracy theory going around on YouTube.
Yeah, right? With all those preppers and YouTubers and... Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
My room looks pretty decent.
Oh, Victoria, man.
That's what I heard.
Don't make me expose you, man. All right, that's the last betrayal.
It's not like I'm a hoarder or something.
You're not a hoarder, man. You're a messer. You're the
first stage is the room. That's where it all begins.
Okay. Yeah, James Cameron. The whole thing that James Cameron claimed that he learned how to make movies by reading books and stuff like that. And you hear about his family and all their involvement in CIA and stuff like that, and mind control.
Yep.
There was this fascinating guy named, oh man, forget it. This is fascinating guy.
Hollywood guy?
No, Mansu.com. The website's down. But this guy was fascinating, man. He used to sue people. He would sue NASA and Madonna and James Cameron in one lawsuit. The guy was crazy. But he was on some stuff. He was a crazy guy who had a website and stuff like that. He was homeless and, he sued his own mother. He sued his mother and father, then Madonna.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had all kinds of information about it. That's how I learned about James Cameron, man, from him.
Yeah,
okay.
Cameron, yeah.
Ed, have you ever met this woman Haley? Her online Okay, yes. Okay. Have you ever met this woman Haley? Her online name was Agent Ladybug, who has done hours of video. Yes, I never met her. No, yeah, but I had Nikki from the chat room. I did a whole special about that. We played all her recordings on my show with Ole Damagard and with James Fetzer. We did a special edition of the Opperman Report, and I did a press release on it and everything. You can look it up. And I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of faith in that. I've heard those recordings. I heard even more recordings than were played on the air by either one of these guys. I heard off-the-air recordings and stuff as well. And I think there's some follow-up that needs to be done in that investigation in order to really get to the bottom of that. Okay. But now it has been
I got a message from Ole.
Oh, good.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned it.
Right now?
It might be old, but continue.
Let's see. Ed, they have a video of OJ's house after it was searched. He received a Swiss Army knife as a gift with a serrated blade. The knife was about 4 inches, and they said Ron Goldman and OJ's wife was serrated with the video. Okay, Merlin. Somebody here says, Ed is so hardcore he exposes his own daughter. Okay, that's kind of true. Okay, but with the knives, okay, you really got to look at the T.H. Johnson interviews I did, okay, with there's a whole bunch of shenanigans with those knives in the O.J. trial. And not only that, but the guy who actually did the autopsy, the medical examiner who did the autopsy of O.J., of Nicole and this guy, Ron Brown, did not testify at the trial. They brought in
Cyril Weck.
They brought in they brought some Indian guy to testify.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all in that. You got to find there's a Serpents Rising. T.H. Johnson did this great video, man, and it's worth the money. I'll put the link up on my blog, the Opperman Report. It's worth buying because this guy has this T.H. Johnson. We did like a 6-hour show, me and him. And by the end of the show, I convinced him that everything I thought about this thing was true. Okay, all the connections to process and stuff. And this guy knows Chris Darden. He knows OJ. He knows his brother was a doctor who treated both OJ and Chris Darden. He knows everybody involved. This guy was back in the Usenet days with OJs and ProJs and stuff like that. So, and I'm telling you, man, that's a really good interview. We're gonna have him back. He's a cool guy, and there's so much stuff going on with the OJ trial with the medical examiners, and he had evidence in this video that there were two knives used, two different knives. So O.J. couldn't have been there by himself. That had to be, I think it was what the killers.
And the timeline was preposterous.
Right.
He would have just had to have been there by chance, and then, and then where did he ditch the clothes? Where's the weapons,
Yeah. Well, the other guy had on too, Steven Singular, who wrote that book about all the connections with the Mark Furman and Nazi organizations, and he was all tipped off about that stuff. That's a fascinating interview that does not have enough hits, for sure. Okay, question about getting you sued. A question without getting you sued. Any info on Gloria Allred? She seems to be connected to everyone. Yeah. I got all kinds of info on Gloria Allred. I did a job for Gloria Allred. Way back during the Lacey Peterson case. I did some work for that would involve Gloria Allred and the girl who was the mistress in that case. I forget her name right now. They would.
Oh yeah, in the Lacey Peterson case.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blonde. Oh boy, wow.
Well, I can get her on the show for sure. There's a lot of stuff going on. By the way, that case, I wasn't. I was working as a beeper salesman at the time. I had my beeper company, so I wasn't doing PI work, but I did some stuff voluntarily. And that brought me to the attention of Gloria Allred, who's hired me for other jobs. That other guy, Garagos, who hired me for other jobs and recommended me for other jobs. All kinds of stuff like that. I did a whole big investigation into the Peterson family, when I dug up all kinds of dirt on them. That was Amber Fry, right? Amber Fry. Yeah. I can get her on the show because I did a lot. I helped her out a lot. And there was a lot of stuff that went on in that case behind the scenes that people have no idea about. That I would love to talk about. Gloria Allred, I'll tell you a funny story real quick. Her daughter was that girl, Lisa Bloom, and she was on on Court TV with this other guy who was a lawyer, a judge. It was here from Henderson, Nevada, and the big case was going on. What case was that? The Margaret Rudin case. Where Margaret Rudin killed her husband, they dumped the body down at Nelson's Landing. Where Vic, you and me go to Nelson's Landing to go kayaking, right? Vic?
She might be muted.
You muted, Vic? Anyway, me and Vic, she's probably messing up her room. But anyway, so
because you guilted her into it.
Yeah, right, yeah. So they dumped this body down there at Nelson's Landing. So I used to go down there fishing all the time before Vic was. She was a little tiny kid back then, a little baby. So
was that when you had that big fat stomach and you would bring all the stuff?
No, it was a little before. You know what?
Then got your back.
It was. When you were born is when I had that big fat. I was 250 pounds at the time.
Yeah.
It was all muscle though.
Nah, man.
There's some pictures. Deceivingly looked like a gut.
Yeah, there's some pictures of me. I forget it. There's a picture of me with who's that guy? We were just talking about Dr. Henry Lee.
That one's my favorite.
I know, man. I was so fat. My hair all slicked back and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And that was 15 years ago, man. I look better now than I did then.
And he looked terrified.
Because what happened was I accosted him. We were at a PI convention, and I accosted Henry Lee on the escalator, and I said, "Let's take a picture together." And he goes, "Oh, no, okay, I'll come right back. I said, no, come on, we'll do it right now. And I pull out a camera. It was a disposable SpongeBob SquarePants camera. I can't stand it. So he's a fun guy, though. He's a cool guy.
Henry Lee with the real heavy accent.
Yeah, something wrong. He's a funny guy, though, man.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, Gloria Allred. Okay, so her daughter, Lisa Bloom, who later on was a lawyer for, anyway, I forget the guy's name. Lindsay Lohan's dad, Michael Lohan.
Yes. That's
right. But she was on this Curtis court, okay? James Curtis was from Henderson, Nevada. He was a judge here, and he was on Court TV. So I contacted Curtis, and I said, hey, listen, man, we're both in Henderson. I can take you down there to Nelson's Landing, and I'll show you where the murder scene was when this Margaret Rudin, where they dumped the body. I said, I've been there. And he goes, oh yeah, Mel, would you really do that? That's so cool. Thank you so much. Let's do it, right? So what happened was I didn't realize at the time that Lisa Bloom was Gloria Allred's daughter. So I sent an email to him once saying about Gloria Allred. Cause I says, she's like a vampire. You think she drinks human blood? And that was it, man. Yeah, I never heard from her because they were co-hosts. I never heard from them again. But Gloria Allred was also involved later on with the whole Tiger Woods thing. She was representing Rachel Yucatel and got her that great deal. She got her a ton of money, and I could tell you some stories about that too, about the way that money was divided up. For one day when I'm not being censored.
That would be a good story.
It is a good story.
Yeah, I wonder what happened with that.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing is that when Rachel Yucatel got that money, she ran out and what do you call it? She ran out and spent all this money like at Claire's boutique on like big rings. She spent like $100,000, man, like rings and jewelry and all costume jewelry and necklaces. It's crazy stuff, man. You know, and it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Speaking of the jewelry, Gloria Allred is so ubiquitous whenever it comes to some sort of, whoever the criminal du jour, or no, whoever the victim du jour is, she's always there representing them at a press conference, but she's always got that butterfly brooch on and, has her hair the same way. And, she's just, she has all the hallmarks of a handler. And I'm not saying that's what she is. I'm just saying it's funny, how she's always, on the spot right when some scandal breaks. She's kind of like, Al Sharpton in that sense, in that regard.
Yes, you're right. But the thing is too is, there's certain lawyers that will insert themselves into these cases.
Right.
And I listen, for many years I did it myself. I inserted myself into cases, and maybe that's what I should be doing now to get back into, make some money because I'm, bad situation. But, and there was even, some lawyers even have the allegation that they're extorting or blackmailing, people into getting settlements, and that's something that goes on as well.
Well, that's the name of the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if some people try and do it, man, and they get arrested, man, for blackmail and extortion, but some people get away with it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ed, just curious, what is your opinion of the Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman murders? Why were they killed? There's so many possibilities of why they were killed.
Well, to break it into pieces, because that's sort of a big question. Do you think that he was there? Did you think whoever was lying in wait? Do you think they obviously didn't expect him to come?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because there's all sorts of stuff with the Goldman family where they were involved in ratting out some big drug smuggling operation, and
like with Faye Resnick?
No, more than that. It was like from Chicago. The mother or the stepmother worked for this lawyer, and it was the whole thing with that. There's so much skullduggery in that case, man, from beginning to end. You have no idea.
Well, you can tell when the parents are out for justice as opposed to when they're running the talk show circuit. You know what I mean? You can tell the difference between a real grieving parent.
Right.
And they literally go weak in the knees and they just collapse into jello and they, can't keep their composure. And then you see these other parents that are like zealots. And, maybe some people just have a different, maybe some people are tougher than others. I could be wrong. But it seems like, there are certain ones that, they really like they do the rounds and they really beat the drum, and it seems like they're almost pushing an agenda. It's fishy. They come off as fishy instead of as victims.
A couple of things about the Goldmans. One thing was a story I heard was that I know it's now been confirmed to me so many times I know it's true, is that the Goldman family went to court every day, right? And they used to go to lunch at this really fancy restaurant that was picking up their tab. And something happened where they just got so arrogant and they got so abusive and so annoying that one day when they showed up to get their lunch, they were told, well, we don't have a table for you. And the father, Goldman, you don't have a table for the Goldman family? What? And he made this huge, giant scene there, and I think they sat him down and fed him, but they sent him a bill, whatever, after that. But it was it was a big, big story at the time. There was a lot of big stories at the time too. Like the house right next door to Nicole was owned by the son of the CIA director at the time too.
Right, the CIA connection. Yeah.
Right, and he was the guy too that was hiding in the closet when OJ was flipping out on 911. I don't know if you know that story. And it was there's so many things in that case. Forget it. But again, another thing about the Goldman family that always stuck out at me is that Nicole's father was in a lawsuit, and they got a judgment against him. So to protect his assets on his house, he let OJ file a lien on his house so that the creditors couldn't come and snatch up his house from under him, which is a common, asset protection thing.
Yep.
And what happened was Ron Goldman snatched up that lien when he had got the judgment against OJ.
He did.
Yeah. So he took money from the victim's father. And there was all kinds of stuff too about Ron Goldman selling drugs. I'm asking a question here in the chat room. Any more info on Ron Goldman being a paid informant? Yeah. Look at the T.H. Johnson tape where he talks about going there and his file was sealed and all kinds of stuff like that. Ron Goldman was definitely an informant. He was a drug dealer. He was an informant. He knew Nicole before this. He knew Faye Resnick before this. Furman knew Nicole before this. I got a ton of people coming to me in the background saying that. So there's all kinds of stuff in that case. All thing too about this guy Ship, who was the cop who testified against OJ.
So they were probably tying up loose ends with her.
With who? I don't know, man. Listen, I think it's so. One thing that really sticks out at me is this. Pelicano, who skated through that whole trial. They didn't mention his name once. Mm-hmm. Pelicano at the time was working for the Clintons, digging up dirt on Monica Lewinsky. He was wiretapping everybody in town. He was doing all kind of thuggery. Now here you got O.J. Simpson. 2 weeks before that murder, by the way, that O.J. Simpson was playing golf with Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the hell were they talking about? I got this bitch wife. I got this bitch, you're my intern. I'm using this guy Pelicano, whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, that's really fishy.
Right, and then there's tires being slashed, all kinds of stuff. But the thing is too, is you gotta remember too, is OJ came out of San Francisco. He came out there right there under the nose of Aquino and all that kind of stuff. He came out there with the FBI. Now, there's so many weird, OJ's mother, oh my God, OJ's mother was a nurse and she worked at a hospital that was run by Jim Jones, okay?
That's right.
There's so much. It's just the levels of so much. His father was a transvestite female impersonator, who died of AIDS. Mm-hmm. His son left work early that night with a set of chef's knives and all kind of domestic violence stuff with his own stuff.
And what I'm seeing in the little chat box here is of course who's famous now? The Kardashians.
Right.
All over the place.
And there was a guy named Waz who claimed he was hired by Kardashian to follow Nicole because Kardashian was involved in some big giant gambling ring. Okay, there's that whole thing. Mm-hmm. Then there's also the whole thing too about Cindy Garvey, the wife of Steve Garvey, the Dodgers. When she was getting divorced from him, she said, "Hey man, all these guys are selling coke. My husband's selling coke. Bruce Jenner is selling coke. All these guys, OJ and all, they're all selling coke. They've been involved in a big coke ring." That stuff is all sealed now. It's gone. It was front page news at one time. You can't find it anywhere now, And then she's testifying against OJ in this thing because, OJ was in a bad mood at this recital. And OJ says, I don't know this woman. I don't know anything about her. What is she testifying against my stuff? So there's one thing after another over and over and over again. It's just crazy.
And OJ they had a party, or they all had a get together that day. That afternoon, they saw each other, and it was copacetic as far as I know, or as far as it was reported.
Yeah.
And so what? In the back of his mind, he was like, "Oh, just wait till tonight. I'm gonna be lying in wait, and I'm gonna jump, and I'm gonna jump like a lion on a gazelle or something." You know what I mean? I'm gonna pounce. What was he thinking during that whole thing? He'd have to be pretty cold-blooded.
Yeah, and to pull this off, minutes before we have a plane, leave on a plane, and all
that blood.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Goldman put up a fight.
Right.
Because he did know karate supposedly, and the way that some of the knife wounds were, he had defensive wounds. Nicole, I think, was caught unaware and just had her throat slashed, but he actually put up a struggle. So OJ was an older guy at the time and was arthritic.
Right.
He would have been. It's tough to stab somebody to death. Two people, let alone two people.
Yeah, there's so much to that case, man. It's just unbelievable.
And then all that blood, and you get rid of the clothes that quick.
Yeah, right.
I mean, come on.
See, yeah, I believe he was there and he ran around in the blood, but I don't believe he was one of the actual stabbers. He might have heard about it later or knew it was going to happen and ran over there, tried to see what was going on. But the whole thing, when you hear about with Cato Kalin and their last minute trip to the Burger King or whatever it was to get some burgers, whatever all that was, man, it was all like last, hey, let's do this. Hey, it's just wasn't planned out,
Right.
And it was definitely planting of blood on the socks. That's no doubt about that whatsoever. And
that was that they conceded that, I believe.
Yeah, then you got those guys, Dale and Banatter, man, they're involved in all this other kind of stuff too. I think they were involved in some Manson and Wonderland cases and stuff like that. So, listen, who did stab them? I'm getting a question here from the chat room. Who did stab them? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. There's so much possibilities. There was a lot of guys getting stabbed around that time, getting their throats slit with the River Phoenix and all kinds of stuff.
That was so 90s to get stabbed.
Yeah. So we don't know, man. A lot of stuff could happen.
It's funny because it's one of those cases that's similar to the Manson case where so many different people are connected.
Right.
You can really find all kinds of motives and just it leads in so many different directions and there's so many different connections. And then you look at the aftermath as another way to figure it out. You look at Shapiro now and who when the smoke clears, profited the most. It's sort of like, the Patriot Act after 9/11. You look at the outcome of what all transpired. When the dust settles, who profited and, this, that, and the other. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, the Kardashians, yeah, the mostly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, even too, Marsha Clark, and Bruce Darden, man,
And what a soap opera that was. Didn't they even find naked pictures of her?
Yeah, they had sex
with
her.
Like everybody's got naked pictures somewhere.
Yeah. She went to high school with my sister.
Oh, really?
On Staten Island, yeah.
And then Darden, he wrote a book. I saw him on TV just the other day.
Darden went on to represent the guy who was the coke dealer who financed Death Row Records.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. California's kind of kooky in some parts, especially when you get into the Hollywood set.
Yeah.
Those people, they run with everybody.
But if you look at the whole theory about the Manson family was they wanted to create helter-skelter in this race war, and then when you see the whole OJ trial, did kind of create that what they were trying to create, the race war, the race, the whole thing,
Yeah, he wasn't far off in what he was saying. I
think
he had been tipped off he had definitely heard, about that being a plan, and he obviously, spilled the beans a little bit with it.
Well, the limo driver, his mother was the lawyer who was one of the Manson murderers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was placed in there that night. That guy wasn't the regular limo driver; he just showed up that night. And a lot of stuff like that, man. Just just there had to be a.
And then Johnny Cochran ended up dead.
Yeah.
Kardashian ended up dead. Robert Shapiro's son ended up dead. You know, it was like
Howard Weitzman was this big Fourth Amendment, drug lawyer, and he tells OJ, I can't represent you because there's a conflict of interest. Go out there on your own. What was that? There's just so much, man, with that case. It just goes on and on and on. And that's one of those cases you got to live. You know.
In that case too, it dominated. I mean, it really dominated. They were making people watch it in school. I've talked to kids that were going to high school at the time, and they actually had, their teachers putting that on. I mean, it was just like, because it was a different time, and that really was this huge, God knows what they were doing in government behind the scenes, because that was just, dominating the headlines. And the other one that was similar to that never left the front page was the Scott Peterson case with I always get Casey and Lacey Peterson. That never left the front page all through the Iraq.
Yeah, and a lot of the same people too. Garagos,
Yep, Garagos, yeah. And what is it? And what his legal prowess? I'm not very impressed by, because all the celebrities that he's ever defended, he really just pleaded out, and got what they could have gotten with a public defender. I mean,
Garagos is a real lawyer. He's for real. He has a lot of major successes, man. Not celebrity cases, maybe. I don't know about that, but he's definitely a powerhouse lawyer. For sure, with civil lawsuits and all kinds of stuff, man. He's a power, and so is Gloria Allred, man. They both have huge firms.
No, I figured that. No, I just meant like with Winona Ryder and stuff. She could have gotten the same deal that she got with him.
The whole Winona Ryder, man. That's a whole nother weird thing.
She's a West Memphis Street supporter, and she's a mess.
Oh, really?
She came from that cult group with the flirty fishing group, the one that all the child actors, that hippie, it was like a / Christian, and I'm using the word advisedly. Yeah. It was supposedly David Berg. That whole group, that's where Joaquin and River Phoenix came out of, and they were like everybody slept together and stuff. It was all incestuous. Right.
Hey, did that guy too? Julian Assange,
Assange.
Yeah, the WikiLeaks guy. He came out of it too.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and also too, I tell you something about that girl you were talking about.
Winona.
Yeah, Winona. That she was a big supporter of Mark Glass when Mark Glass had his stuff going on.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's I think her brain's a little drug-addled now when you see her, and it's taking a toll. I mean, the stuff they got out of her purse, I mean, if they just pulled a quarter of that stuff out of her purse, I mean, she had loaded syringes and just bottles, and I mean,
really?
She literally had a pharmacy. She went into a store. This is a girl who was the star of tons of movies in the 90s. Had a huge career, and she goes in and shoplifts clothes, and like in a really obvious way, just decides she's going to go in and rob this store. They catch her, they grab her, they pull her back inside, and then they go through her purse, and it's like, she's got rigs and gear and just all kinds of dope. I mean, it was unbelievable. It's amazing if she was doing that amount of narcotics that she. That I've never seen a habit, and I work with addicts, and that like literally that shocked me. So I don't know what the deal is with her, but why would she doesn't have enough money to buy the clothes? She had to steal them. So then she hired Garagos to represent her in that, and she went on Saturday Night Live, and they made a joke of the whole thing, and they wore T-shirts that said "Free Winona," Then she tried to star in a couple of movies after that. She was in Black Swan, which got a lot of good reviews and everything. But if you kind of watch her since then, there's something a little bit off. Like, you can tell that some damage has been done somewhere. She's not the same as she was. She's not the cute little 90s actress with the pixie haircut,
Right.
that she was back in the day.
I got a question. In my research of the OTO, the Process Church, there's old multi-generational Luciferian families, Nazi, viral, voodoo, and the Mansons. Yeah, right. Combined together to form connected groups in New York, forming a powerful magic system. Are you getting attacked, and if so, how? Yeah.
Like spiritually?
Listen, I've been getting attacked way before I've ever been on the radio. I've been getting attacked since 1996 with this kind of crap. Back from Usenet days, when I was debating the topics of West Memphis 3 and researching all this stuff. I had Scientologists try to infiltrate my business and apply for jobs with me and stuff. So yeah, I've been getting attacked for my whole life, I think, spiritually as well. And now, the attacks are really, really great, where we're getting huge spiritual attacks and online attacks and harassment and stalking. Even tonight during the show, we got like 5, tonight wasn't that bad. We got like 5 crank calls during the show, But there's been nights where we've gotten 30 crank calls, Yeah. And harassment before the shows and people, harassing my producers before the shows and stuff. So yeah, we're under attack all the time, and with the whole Sarah Palin stuff, they over tightening the lugs on my Jeep so that the bolts would snap on the wheels, and breaking into my mail. I just had mail broken into this week. John Potash sent me a package in the mail, book and a CD that was broken into, ripped open, when the Sarah Palin stuff went on, forget that. They broke into my house, they broke into my office, because I used to have a really nice office, and a nice laboratory and all this kind of stuff like that. Before I got involved in all this radio crap and turned my life upside down, and they broke into the office, they broke into my home. They must have put my dog to sleep to get into the house, because my dog would attack anybody.
It was stuff like all in disarray? They made it obvious?
No. They switched out cables and stuff like that. They switched out the charging cables with data cables in my little field kit with the digital forensics, okay? That cables that I know that I've used in the past, okay, for big cases, that suddenly didn't work, and then when I looked it up, it said it was the wrong kind of cable. It is the cable, I know, stuff like that, and mail getting broken into back with the whole Sarah Palin thing, there was huge attacks, not just by local attacks, but also infiltration and stuff from foreign intelligence agencies, infiltrating my life and my personal life and all kind of stuff like that too. So yeah, I've lived a life of being under attack. I think right now, my situation right here now here tonight is probably the worst situation I've ever, kind of the worst situation I've ever been in. My kid's under attack. Our home life's under attack. My kid's being abused, royally. The courts aren't helping us at all. We go to people for help. We're not getting any help at all. And financially, I'm just being destroyed all over the place. Which it all started out pretty much when I started getting involved in all this radio stuff.
You ruffled a lot of feathers.
Yeah, I know, man.
Stepped on a lot of toes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of spiritual attack too on top of that too. So that's where we are.
Yeah, one of the weird things they'll do too is, and these are the weird like little psyop things they'll do. You'll go outside. It actually happened to me, and your trunk will be open, and nothing will be gone. They'll just show you that they can get into your car. They do weird stuff like that. And it's so that, you say, did I lock this? Did I leave this open? Yeah. They do weird stuff like that to sort of, to make you feel like you're going crazy.
And one thing here, one person in the chat room is saying this, I had no idea the Palins had such power, such pull. She seemed so ditzy. See, I don't think, it wasn't the Palins. You know, I agree with you.
Hey, Dad, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, sweetie.
I know, I remember during the Sarah Palin case that our window was open.
Right.
Like, forcefully opened that, you know, we didn't do.
Yeah, the screen was pried open. You didn't see that yet, right.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, we had this dog that was, you know, biting off people's faces, you know.
Right.
When they tried to pet him, like, you know.
That's it. That's what they do.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think it was the Palins themselves. Okay, I think they're tools. I don't think they're that bright. I know a lot of stuff about the Palins that the average person doesn't know about. And, but there were intelligence agencies from foreign countries who wanted to infiltrate that investigation and get whatever dirt that I had on the Palins. They wanted possession of that dirt. And I think they got a lot of it, to tell you the truth.
Because there's foreign interests. People have to realize. You
right.
can teach people this. There are foreign interests that have a stake in what happens here in our elections, you know?
Not just foreign interests, but there's also economic interests in
right.
All these groups have their own intelligence agencies.
Yeah.
Even this guy in New York City, who's was a real estate guy, involved in donating money and all. This guy has his own. He hires off-duty cops and he controls the NYPD. Huge influence, big powerful guy, owns museums, big giant rich guy. And has his own intelligence force. To spy on people and all kinds of crap. You guys have no idea what's going on out there.
Yeah.
And what we need is a forum where we can really talk about all this stuff,
Well, you were talking about Vinny earlier, and he did set up a forum on Skype so that when he's offline, so that you don't get disturbed, too much, but people want to talk, they can go to it, and you can, just sort of, they can write and talk to each other. It's kind of like...
I'd love to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. It was actually a really good idea. And then he checked in from time to time.
Yeah, by the way, too, someone from chat is asking if Israeli intelligence was one of the people involved. Yeah, they were. It was
always.
Chinese intelligence, and the big ones were Chinese intelligence and Israeli intelligence. Were all up my ass during that whole Sarah Palin thing. One doesn't have to remember that because Sarah Palin resigned. Sarah Palin announced that she was not running for president. The same day I got that package from the Anchorage Police Department with all the evidence and all that stuff in that package. By the way, it was also punctured with a little mini camera stuck in it. So,
was this in after the first election? This was during when exactly?
Good question. It was around the time Holly was living with us, right, Vic? That was like 4 years ago. It was after the election when she lost.
Okay.
Yeah, and the day she announced she was not running for election for the next 2012 was the same day I got that package, and all that was going on, and she mentioned my client. Not by name, but referred to her on Hannity. So there's no doubt what happened with that case, man. No doubt in my mind. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I have met a female Mossad agent that I know for a fact was a female Mossad that was forget it, man. Was a preteen prostitute. Okay, and then was funneled through Betty Ford and given what do you call it? Giant scholarships to attend colleges at a CIA college. Yeah, no doubt in my mind. And when you were being harassed by China, Israel, did you go to the FBI? Yeah, right. Did I? No, I did not go to. Did I report it? No, I did not report it. No, we did not report anything. No, because obviously everyone knew what was going on. There was no secret as to what was going on. The whole thing. It shocked me to hear that tonight that the upper management and CIA were stealing petroleum out of Keir McGee to give to Israel. Yeah, but that's one of the things they do. Because we all watched the movie Silkwood. It won the Academy Award, and it doesn't mention any of that. And that's what they do. They create a movie to cover up the real story. They did it over and over again with McMartin and everything, West Memphis 3, everything. They always do it.
Oh, and I gotta say it because I saw it the other day. Peter Jackson's first proper movie, and it was her debut film. Kate Winslet, who was in the highest grossing movie of all time, Titanic, was a movie called Heavenly Creatures. And guess what the movie was about? It was about a true life murder of these two girls that were young lovers in New Zealand. It was a high profile case there, and they bludgeoned their mother to death with a brick. And they were 15 at the time. They only got 5 years in jail. And it would be prison. But that case he took an instant liking to and decided he was going to make a movie out of. And before that, he was like a splatter, horror filmmaker. And Kate Winslet, that was her, her debut film. And you can find some rare interviews of him talking about it. And he knows the ins and outs of not just that case, but the Leopold Loeb case here, and what defense they used, and that the attorneys used, and he's just he gets creepier and creepier the more you dig and hear the guy talk, and that's why I think he took such a someone from New Zealand took such a huge interest in a case over here that really has nothing to do with him one way or the other. And, every time I see it, just it makes me angry. So just thought I'd mention that. Victoria, while your dad was going through what he was going through, were you ever witness to any of these things firsthand?
I missed that last part.
Oh, I didn't know if you guys, I knew you had stepped away for a sec. No, I was just throwing out a little, some anecdotal information about Peter Jackson's first movie and how he was always interested in true life murder, true life crimes, and there was a big, huge, a famous case in New Zealand that he had made into a movie, and it was he had to admit, and it was funny because he gave 2 separate interviews on it, and when he came here to talk about it, he had a whole different tone. When he was over there in New Zealand where people were familiar with the case, he said, "Oh, when I watched when the murder scene, it was the hardest day. We didn't even want to film that scene.
Yeah, right.
I cover my eyes whenever it comes on." And I was like, get lost, pal. Take a hike. And he was an actor in a bunch of films before that, so the guy knows how to act. And his acting isn't very good, but he definitely, applies it when he needs to. But he's such an expert at case law here, and is very familiar with our criminal justice system. So I just added some of that because you opened the door when you made that passing reference to the West Memphis. I'm just so sick of him. I'm so sick of him. No,
so am I, man. And it's all that tons of money. These guys have all this freaking money, man, and all this power. We just gotta keep moving forward and try and capture as much of this media as we can, and use these idiots that are heckling us, for our own.
Well, it's so funny because I at first, my wife, I try not to get too dark, with her with some of this stuff, and she likes to have a little bit of escapism sometimes with because Eddie Vedder, all the musicians and stuff, and I show her the stuff and she goes, "Damn it, now I can't watch this, now I can't watch that," because once know, how can you watch a movie that these is and then that Natalie Maines, oh, for the love of God, she was in there too, and it was just like, shut up. It just, it gets me. She can't even watch those documentaries because she gets too upset too. But but no, that's why it's so important because the idiots in Hollywood threw so much support behind that they literally all touched the tar baby. They literally all got their hands dirty with this. They literally all yoked themselves up to this. So if you really expose it, it just throws a wet blanket on them. It just they came out in too much force. Some of them should have stayed behind the scenes. They should have gotten one person to come forward with the money, and it could have been their cause celeb. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio. Did you see how he went and marched for about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And gave a speech in front of the UN?
Yeah.
And then someone came and tried to ask him one tough question. He had one of his, guys come over and say, okay, yeah, we're done. When they said, but you fly around in jets and, you have, private yachts and things. And then somebody pushed the reporter away.
Yeah, I know. Plus, you get that big giant march, man. All those people, man. If we could just get those kind of people to, take over Wall Street and shut down the bridges and shut down the phone company and stuff like that, man. It's just, park out in front of these places. And at the same time, while they're doing that, man, you get all these bodies out there, gumming up the system. The rest of us, you do telephone harassment, and all kind of stuff. To shut these offices down, shut down the New York State Department of Finance and Taxation. Shut them down. You can shut them down. You can, There's a lot of ways to do it. Yeah. And why isn't Anonymous doing this? Why? Here you got this big march. Okay, Anonymous could shut down that whole, if they're really, this group's trying to help us, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't they doing it,
Next, don't get on the bad side now. All of a sudden, we'll all
I know, yeah, right, they'll hack us, man. What else, man? What else? Okay, we got some. Have I ever met any MI6 agents? When you go to these conventions, PI conventions and digital forensic conventions and seminars and classes and stuff like that, you meet everybody. All over the world. Everybody's there. And for the most part, they're all just like you and me. They're all cool people, and just want a couple of right-wing nuts, but everyone has the same kind of Bundy Ranch, there's all the same kind of opinions the rest of us do, and same kind of questions,
true.
Yeah.
That's so true. At every level, and some of the people that you'd be surprised, are sort of on our side with this stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody's at a different level. Someone said, the lie is different at every level in math. And it's true with this. People are at different levels of their understanding of this stuff. And some of them have good intentions and they do want to help, but they don't know where to start. So it's tough because when I meet people who have a certain sphere of influence or money, you kind of have to treat them on an individual basis and sort of ease them into some of this information. You can't go straight at them with reptilian shapeshifters. You got to kind of, you got to see where they're at with their head, and then approach them a certain way, or they'll tune you out. And it's funny because I was talking to this one kid, and he, I lost him when he brought it up, but he was immediately said, anyone who believes that there was any chicanery going on with the whole moon landing, that's where I just, shut off or tune out. So, you have to kind of approach people. You can't shove some of the stuff down their throats. You have to be patient the way you explain the stuff. There's an art to kind of explaining it. I mean, you just got to use facts too.
No, I got you. I hear you, man. I have no endorsement whatsoever at this point of David Icke.
No, I meant that as a joke.
Yeah, not even a little bit, man. This guy's, I contacted him. He's putting out stuff he knows is crap. Got a question here. What was your reason for having Hart Fisher on? I looked at his comic book, and it was a fallen angel having graphic sex with women. Something very odd for a church-going man. Please explain. Okay, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I had Hart Fisher on because he's a friend of Keith Davis, who's our producer, and I did it as a favor to Keith. I don't know anything about Hart Fisher, or endorse anything he does. He's going to have me on his show. I think he has some kind of leftist kind of fellow.
Was he the big guy?
Yeah, he's the guy with all the horror movie stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely. I'm not a fan of Hart Fisher, man. But he's gonna have me on his show, and he's talking. It's all this political stuff he's doing there, trying to elect people in his local town there. So I kind of endorse that. I liked a lot of stuff about that. But you're right. That stuff, that gothic stuff. I'm a church going man, like you said. And I don't endorse that kind of stuff. And I don't like it. I talk about a lot of stuff like Manson and process and stuff, and I don't do it. I don't glorify it. I try to do what I can. Ed, what do you think of Douglas Dietrich?
That was me. I typed that one.
Oh, that's you. You're Merlin?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, Ed, what do you think of Douglas Dietrich? He did private security for the...
Who's Douglas Dietrich?
Douglas Dietrich.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah, he's had me on his show. I met Chris Wallace through Douglas Dietrich. Personally, I like Douglas Dietrich. I met him in person several times. I like him. He's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's I'm worried about him, to be honest, which is what I think of Douglas Dietrich. I think he's kind of floating around there in different directions, losing his temper at people. That's a bad idea. But I like him. I helped him out with different situations in his life, different investigations and things, as much as I can, and I wish him the best in everything he does.
And you've been on panels where you guys have had laughs and hung out?
Yeah, man. When I did my seminar there, man, Doug Dietrich came up on the stage with me. He helped me out, and he's a cool guy. I met him in person. He's very kind to my daughter whenever he's had the chance.
Yeah, he's really polite. He's polite to his callers. And actually, that's the one thing, almost to a fault, when people call into a show, he's so polite that it cuts into the time in the show before you blink, it's over. Because, unlike certain, other hosts, they'll just sort of axe you after the first question.
Yeah, funny thing with Doug is too, when it's really tough being interviewed by Doug, because he'll go off on this topic for 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Oh, the moon landing. What are the moon landing? The spaceships on the moon, and the flags, and the shadows. And whatever. Well, Ed Opperman, what do you think about Iran-Contra? It's totally, Right. And it's just the most bizarre interview you could possibly do, but I love him, like I said.
Go back and say, do you have anything else you want to say? Yeah. There's like 10 people waiting, so you feel bad.
I know. Yeah, you want to talk about the moon landing. Oh, yeah, what? I got to wait to the moon landing. What do you think about Iran-Contra? And it's just nothing you can do about it, man. It's just the way
I'll say something really good about him, too. The guy's memory.
Yeah.
The ability to call up facts, and also he's so articulate.
Yeah.
Unbelievably articulate. Amazing memory, and just the most articulate speaker. I mean, he really is. Some of the facts that he pulls up off the top of his head. And it's funny because the facts that he stumbles over are like the little everyday pop culture stuff that, most people, can easily recall. It's the hard stuff that most people don't know about that he can just, he should go on Jeopardy.
Yeah, no, he definitely has a lot of information. Mm. Okay, question. What is your connection to Pasadena, California? I seen that you went on a show there. Pasadena, home of the West Coast OTO. I don't know what show I went on in Pasadena you're talking about. I really have no connection to Pasadena that I can think of. Other than I've traveled to California. I've done a lot of shows, man. You can't investigate every show that has you on. I have no clue which show you're talking about. What do you think of Dr. Drew Pinsky? Okay, what do I think of Dr. Drew Pinsky? Wait, do you have something to say about Pasadena?
Yeah, because that's what
Oh.
That's where his recovery center is.
Oh, well, no, Dr. Drew, we did him in it wasn't in Pasadena. It was in, that little airport.
Oh.
Burbank. Yeah. Yeah, we went to Dr. Drew Pinsky's in Burbank. I did a show over there. Yeah, right. And what do I think of Dr. Drew Pinsky, man? I know some stuff about him. And it all goes back, if you listen to what I was saying before about how certain things are done. how certain people get away with it. So, yeah, my agent at one time was booking everybody on Dr. Drew, was booking everybody in those, what do you call,
on HLN, like those spy shows to set up the...
No, the rehab stuff. She was booking all that stuff.
Oh.
She booked everybody on rehab, booked everybody on, on his Dr. Drew Pinsky show, so she booked me on there. And, Dr. Drew is a strange guy when you meet him in person. He's he's very, very, very practiced in front of the camera, posing in front of the camera. And his main concern is posing in front of the camera, not looking at you or making a conversation or a connection with you in real life whatsoever. Hey, Ed, who was the radio guy you were talking about a few weeks ago being a total fraud? You said you sent him info on a guest being a hoaxer. One of the issues we have is that we're not allowed to talk about fellow radio hosts, okay, on some of the stations that I'm on. Not this station here, and not Hazy, and not hardly any of them except for one. And we're not allowed to talk about other hosts when they're total con men and hoaxers and bullshit artists and out there making up stuff. And I could testify in court the guy's a total fraud and a phony. And maybe, who knows? Maybe next week we'll be able to expose all this stuff. And really do some major stuff, man. You would not believe. I could do YouTube videos, man, and exposing people for their nonsense and their BS of what goes on out there. You wouldn't believe it.
But people should be able to use their discernment for the most part.
I agree. And it's pretty obvious. And when you have somebody comes on the air and says the world's going to end on September 24th, a year ago,
right?
It's still out there. There's two suns in the sky. And all this.
And didn't the polls shift in 2012?
Yeah, right. All that kind of nonsense. There's a lot of nonsense out there. It's a complete nonsense and complete garbage. And I would say to anybody out there that if you have any kind of skepticism about any host or radio show out there, double down your skepticism and then double it down again. Because most of these guys are totally full of crap. Question for Chris. These drug rehab centers are mind control reprogramming sites. Any comments? Chris, you mind control.
I'm on probation from my work because the doctor that worked there, now there are medical doctors that work there. There are therapists that work there. And then there's a doctor who works there for the CDC, and he conducts trials there. And they absolutely have people that are not in their right frame of mind signing things to participate in experimental drug programs. And this is a guy who said to a room full of at least 200 people that his son was going to get the HPV vaccine whether he liked it or not. And his son, now HPV is something that they were pushing on women. So I don't think it's something that you would really, even if you believed that it worked, you'd tell a room full of people that you were going to, I don't think you should tell a room full of people that you're going to give your son anything, whether he likes it or not. So I had to say something that got me in a lot of trouble. But in the sense that the people's minds aren't right and that they're actually used as guinea pigs because their insurance, they can just break the insurance. They were testing drugs on people there that had their one eye rolling back in their head and the other, and then they literally write down every 15 minutes where they are, what they're doing. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely doing testing.
Well, like Daniel Sheehan was talking about tonight, man, these Lakota Indians, man, how 7,000 kids have been taken away from their parents just to pump them up with drugs so that the drug companies get the money and then they can funnel it back into putting the politicians in power.
Right. And some of the drugs they have, some of the things they have are so amazing. They have things that they can install under your skin that can literally block the receptors to your brain. Like, let's say you're hooked on dope, heroin. They put a ball. It's like a golden ball underneath your tricep. This isn't out on the market. You got to actually you'd have to go to this special doctor that pioneered it. And this is actually a few years back. And it blocks so that, it won't get to your head. There's all kinds of, there is so much weird stuff out there that they have that is just not, for, the public yet. But you see it, these early trials, and you wouldn't believe it. It's unreal, some of the stuff that they have. It really is. And it's definitely messing with people's minds. Definitely messing with their minds. Because they come in one way and they come out like they're a different person. Because their relatives come to see them and they're like, who are you? And not in a good way.
Right. Oh boy, depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're asking you, what do you think of Colin Robb's work? That's what they're asking.
I had to mute for a second.
Question for Chris: what do you think of Colin Robb's work?
Oh, Colin Robb. I need a little bit more. Like, what does he do specifically?
I have no idea. I never heard of him.
So I'm pretty aware of most people on the scene, and his name is not ringing any bells at the moment. But I can look into him and.
Well, speaking of Douglas Dietrich, man, it turns out that John B. Wells was interviewed by Jimmy Church. And Doug, I guess it was tonight, man, and now good old Doug is having a heart attack about that. So yeah,
that's right. I saw that right beforehand. No, I was just Googling.
Yeah. Oh boy, well, almost to the end of our show.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, man, I'm pooped. Let's see, it's almost 10 o'clock.
It's 1 in here.
Yeah, so let's say goodbye and good night, and good old free audible.com free trial Opperman report. We have to say at the end of the show and the beginning of the show, otherwise we don't get anything from them. And all of our hosts and guests and stuff like that. Chris Wallace, thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Daniel Sheehan, man, check out danielpsheehan.com. Incredible guy, incredible information. Definitely gonna have him back, man, 100 times, man. I'll have that guy on every night of the week, man, if I could. That's the kind of guy that's my hero, man, to tell you the truth,
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. So next week we're gonna have Thomas Metzger, a fascinating guy with his story about how he infiltrated the Mormon Church. We got this guy Sutter coming on talking about the Russian 9/11. Jeffrey McDonald's wife about the Jeffrey McDonald case. Got a lot of big shows coming up, guys. But the really thing we need you to do is to subscribe to the Opperman Report YouTube channel. Go to the Opperman Report blog and click on some links and click on some ads on there to get this some income coming in. We need sponsors. I can't tell you enough how we need sponsors. And we are in the fight of our life. We need your donations to the Opperman Report at gmail.com. Hey, Vic, are you there? You went to bed? Yeah, Vic's gone. All right, guys. So good night, all. And we'll see you next week. Cindy, you can take us out with some music.